Here's the windup. Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow!
Zero. They got depth now. I think they're strong. They got a great offense. You got Robinson Cano, who's probably going to hit 340.
And I'm gonna tell you something. To me, Alex Rodriguez is gonna be the MVP this year.
I like it. He's healthy.
Right now, I'm calling it right now.
He's healthy.
Alex Rodriguez.
And he's learning how to play when he's in pain. So he's gonna be in the lineup as much as he can.
Yeah, you got a guy hitting 2, and he drove in 119 runs in Granderson. He's hitting second.
Sounds like we're buying all the moves they made to bolster their rotation. We like Michael Pineda.
Yeah, Pineda's going to struggle a little bit because he's a fly ball pitcher in Yankee Stadium, but he's still Michael Pineda. He still throws 98 miles per hour, and he's going to be fine.
Okay, and Ivan Nova's the real deal. 17 wins, we can expect that again.
Yes.
Nasty sinker.
Okay,
slider,
Hiroki Kuroda, we think that's a solid number 2?
No, he's not a 2 for me. He's a 3 or 4.
Any options at the 5th spot, though?
Hughes is throwing the ball well.
I'd be okay with each and every one of those guys. Yes.
Okay, once again, we're just moments away from sending you out to Tampa, Florida for the Yankees against the Toronto Blue Jays. Andy Pettitte coming back and unretiring. I think caught us all off guard a little bit, but this is a big deal because we expect the Yankees to be in the postseason mix. This is the all-time winner in postseason history. Orlando, you guys know this better than a talking head like me. Guys that can be away from the game for a year and come back, you just can't expect them to be the same. But sounds to me, all of you expect Andy Pettitte to be the real deal, exactly the way he was when he does eventually make it back in 2012. Are you on board with that?
He's a classic guy. He's not going to come back if he's not ready. And if he's coming back, he knows what he's doing, and he's going to be the all Andy Pettitte.
It's a left-handed pitcher. Look at Jamie Moyer. Aren't you worried about Andy Pettitte, and you watched Jamie Moyer go out there and throw 4 perfect innings the other night against the Giants at 49 years old?
You know what makes that staff real good? Soriano, Robertson, and Mo. All you got to do is go 6 innings, give the ball to the bullpen. The greatest closer in the history of the game.
Is this the end of the road for him, you think? Mariano?
It'll be his call. If he wants it, he will be. He could probably pitch another 2 or 3 years if he wanted.
That quarter.
And we're starting to talk about that. That's like going to be a theme now every single year with the Yankees. The core 4. Jorge Posada is already done.
Right.
He called it a career. But with Pettitte, with Jeter, with Mariano, we will see really the end of a legacy in many ways in the Bronx. Once again, we got some live baseball coming your way. You're going to enjoy it. It's the Toronto Blue Jays against the New York Yankees. Spring training almost over, but you know what? Let's enjoy it while we got it. Kyle Drabek, one of the top prospects for the Blue Jays. He'll be on the mound against CC Sabathia for Orlando Cabrera, Eric Burns, Larry Boa. My name's Greg Amsinger. Enjoy the game right here on MLB Network.
Well, tonight's game on Yes is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com to find a dealer near you. By WB Mason. For office furniture and supplies at amazingly low prices, who but WB Mason? And by the really big sales event. Real deals, big inventory. Now at your Honda dealer. Well, the Yankees come into this one undefeated their last 7. Blue Jays have won 7 in a row, so a good matchup if those numbers mean anything to you. Let's get to tonight's starting lineup for the Toronto Blue Jays. And it begins with Kelly Johnson playing second base and leading off. Yunel Escobar is the shortstop. He bats second. Jose Bautista out in right field batting third. Edwin Encarnacion is at first base. Eric Thames is out in left field batting fifth. Brett Lowry is the third baseman tonight. JP Arancibia will do the catching, batting seventh. Colby Rasmus in center. And Jan Gomes rounding it out as a DH. He was a late addition when Adam Lind, the first baseman, went out with back stiffness. And that's a lineup that will face CC Sabathia.
And a very, very representative lineup right there for John Farrell's club against CC Sabathia, #1 starter for the New York Yankees. He's going to take the mound tonight. We'll get a look at his numbers from last year. 33 starts, 19 wins, the ERA right at 3. Take a look at our Volkswagen pitcher scouting report on CC Sabathia. There have been no issues and no questions, and that's just the way the Yankees want it as far as this spring training is concerned for Sabathia. And probably his last full session before he goes on April 6th, opening day. He'll throw tonight and stretch it out maybe to about 85 pitches. Next outing would be a couple of innings, a little shorter outing, and then he'll look forward to that opening day start.
Well, the Toronto Blue Jays last season, 81-81. They think they've gotten better. They've made some offseason acquisitions that we'll talk about, certainly shoring up their bullpen. In the hopes of getting more wins and being in the mix with the Red Sox and Rays and Yankees atop the American League East. And Sabathia starting Kelly Johnson off with a strike.
Bob, the Blue Jays having a very nice spring training at 19 wins and 4 losses and 1 tie. John Farrell, manager of this club, got to be excited about this season.
And CeCe missing up high to even the count at 1.
The 27th of March, we're seeing a lot of the everyday players playing most of the games now, tuning it up, getting ready for opening day.
That ball hit hard out to the gap in right center field. That's Justin Maxwell giving chase. He is the right fielder for tonight's game of the Yankees, and he'll get it in. Kelly Johnson racing around, and he'll be into third easily. A stand-up triple to lead things off here against CeCe Sabathia.
Well, Kelly Johnson came over from the Diamondbacks last year in the Aaron Hill trade. The fastball supposed to be away. You see Russell Martin reaching middle in, and Johnson knows exactly what to do with it. Left on left. Pretty simple stroke. Hit 270 for the Blue Jays after the trade. Off to a good start tonight.
And they had a few acquisitions last year that they hope will pay dividends. Obviously, not only Kelly Johnson, but Brett Lowry, Colby Rasmus, who will play center field. And this is Yunel Escobar. And CeCe misses away 1-0. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Escobar this season, this spring's 250. 4 runs batted in.
And a great opportunity here for Escobar. Joe Girardi playing his infield back, conceding the run. All Escobar has to do is make a little contact on the ground up the middle.
And to short, and that will do it. And Jeter goes over to first, but Johnson's in, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Well, let's get to the Yankees defense now, brought to you by the Home Depot. And again, that was Andrew Jones out at right. Justin Maxwell is out at left tonight. Brett Gardner's in center. Jones at right. Maxwell was a late change because Curtis Granderson out with some right elbow soreness, so Gardner moved over from left. Maxwell went into left. A-Rod, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira around the infield. Mark behind the plate, and Sabathia on the hill. And of course, this Jose Bautista, 43 home runs last year, 103 runs batted in.
The on-base percentage, 447.
And a little chopper and foul.
Bautista, one of the guys, obviously a power hitter with those numbers, 43 home runs, 103 RBIs, but he walked 132 times last year. So a patient hitter, waits for the ball to be in the strike zone, and when it is, he does some serious damage.
And Sabathia on 0-2, misses away, 1-2. Everybody wondering if in 2011 last year he could back up his big season of 2010, and he did exactly that. You mentioned the on-base percentage and the walks. People just wanted to stay away from him.
And rightfully so, but you know, a patient hitter is disciplined. When he gets his pitch, he puts it in play hard.
And CeCe missing outside with a breaking ball, 2-2.
Well, he had those 54 home runs in 2010. Can he do it again? Can he replicate that season? He comes back with 43. Pretty impressive after a mediocre career, 04 through 09.
Good location, just missing outside of the breaking ball, and the count goes full.
Well, this is perfectly played to our point here, Bob. You know, he's 0-2 right away, takes some close pitches. Now he finds himself in a full count. See if CeCe comes right at him.
And he does, and a chopper up the middle. Cano positioned perfectly. And 2 away. Let's take a look at the game time weather conditions, brought to you by Toyota. And a very warm day here in Tampa, Florida. Got up as high as 86. It's 80 degrees right now and sunny. Winds blowing right to left here at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Back in the Bronx, a change in temperature. Sunny, but 47. And Well, Flash, you know well, it was what, 20s when you left, right?
Yeah, I got on a plane this morning and it was wind chill in the 20s, so it's definitely a different trend back home, but it sounds like it's going to warm up towards the end of the week.
Well, this is Edwin Encarnacion penciled in at first base now. Adam Lind was supposed to get the start there and back up Bautista in the cleanup spot, but Lind had a little bit of back stiffness about an hour ago, so Encarnacion taking over at first and batting fourth.
You know, Bobby, you look at the numbers for the Blue Jays last year, 81 and 81. Offensively, they had a pretty good year. I mean, they were 5th in the league in home runs, 6th in stolen bases, 4th in walks. Look forward to doing some of the same this year. If they can add a little depth to their rotation, get some consistency. You mentioned some of the additions in the bullpen. They might be a force in the American League East.
You know, 3-0, Sabathia with a strike, 3-1. And those 81 wins, 9 shy of what the Red Sox had, 10 shy of the Rays. So if you can have a little bit of an improvement, maybe against your division rivals, you can certainly help yourself in the division. Maybe grab a wild card. You mentioned the 5th ranking in terms of the offense for this club, and you hope to get, they do, bigger contributions. Brett Lowry, Colby Rasmus, if they can do that and protect Bautista in some way, get some complementary players and hitters to him, they can improve that number. 3-2, Encarnacion fouls it off his leg.
Well, if you look at their rotation, I mean, you got Romero at the top, Morrow, Brett Cecil, Alvarez, McGowan now has gotten hurt, so Drabek will pitch tonight. He gets a shot. The arms are there. You know, the question is, can John Farrell get the most out of that rotation where consistently they take it to the next step? Especially a guy like Brett Cecil had a good year 2 years ago, fell off a little bit last year. The pieces to the puzzle are here in Toronto.
And that ball lifted foul. Cecil demoted at one point to the minors last season. I think they probably expected more out of Kyle Drabek, who they got from Philadelphia. He was one of the big blue chip prospects in that Roy Halladay trade.
We'll get a chance to see him work tonight. Still in the running for a 5th spot in the rotation, but you're right, last year was a major disappointment for Drabek.
And 3-2, CeCe goes inside and they punch him out. Encarnacion didn't think he went around, but first base umpire Mike Estabrook says yes, he did. So the Jays get one on the board. A leadoff triple from Johnson. A little grounder to get him in, but that's it. 1-0 Jays.
Spring training games are brought to you by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball, and proud to support baseball in communities across the country.
This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound.
You feel that?
No.
The E-Assist is working right now.
That's Spandau Ballet, man.
You did this all the way to the restaurant.
Yeah, we were going uphill, getting extra horsepower from a battery-powered generator. It's helping us conserve fuel. This is important.
The all-new 37 MPG Highway Chevy Malibu Eco. From new technology to old friends, Chevy runs deep.
It's our weekend. Should we spend it wandering in some home improvement warehouse? No. Say we go to Ace. Yeah. Get help when we walk in the door. Because we will maintain our homes and our weekend. Yeah.
Your in-store wingman helps get your weekend back at Ace.
Headed to the bottom of the first here in Tampa with the Blue Jays up 1-0. Let's look at tonight's Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. Derek Jeter leading things off at short. Mark Teixeira batting second tonight. Curtis Granderson a late scratch with that right elbow soreness. Robinson Cano batting third at second. Alex Rodriguez hitting cleanup, playing third base. Raul Ibanez is the DH batting fifth. Russell Martin doing the catching tonight. Andrew Jones is out in right field. Brett Gardner moves over to center field with Granderson out, and Justin Maxwell moves into left and rounds out the order.
Well, the Yankees are going to get another look at the young right-hander Kyle Drabek. Had some time last year in the Blue Jay rotation after being traded from the Phillies for Roy Halladay, and those were the numbers. The ERA over 6, 87 hits and 78 2/3. We'll look at our Volkswagen pitcher scouting report on Drabek. In 2011 was a nightmare. The ERA over 6 in the big leagues. He went down to Vegas AAA, and the ERA was 7.44, but he is still in the mix for the 5th spot in the rotation. Dustin McGowan hurt his right foot, and John Farrell, manager, looking for a little more composure from his young right-hander. Things kind of got out of control for him last year. We'll see if he improves in 2012.
And one of the big numbers that stood out on your scouting report on him, 55 walks to just 51 strikeouts. So really having a problem keeping guys off the base paths. Starts Derek Jeter off with ball 1. Jeter, hard hit ball, left center field. And Rasmus will round it up, and Jeter's aboard with a leadoff single. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays defense tonight, brought to you in part by the Home Depot. And out in left field, it is Thames. In center, Rasmus. And right, Jose Bautista. Around the infield, Brett Lowry, Yunel Escobar, Kelly Johnson, and Edwin Encarnacion. JP Arancibia behind the plate, catching Doug Grayback.
Derek Jeter continues his hot hitting, coming back from the calf injury. He's been swinging the bat fantastically lately.
Saw him with a leadoff home run in Sunday's game. Also had a double in that ball game.
Is that a word, fantastically?
Boy, I'm going to have to work on that one.
To go to the thesaurus. Can't even say that word tonight. Off to a good start.
You could always mix in, let's say, a phantasmagorical, maybe something like that.
Appreciate you helping me out, trying to get me off the hook.
Well, here's Mark Teixeira again batting second tonight. If you didn't hear, Curtis Granderson, a late scratch because of right elbow soreness, would have batted second. So Joe Girardi opting to put Mark Teixeira in the 2-hole, and he lifts one out to center field. And Rasmus has it, 1 away. And that'll bring up Robinson Cano. Cano a homer and 9 runs batted in this spring.
See the 118 RBIs, second in the American League last year for Robinson. The batting average just over 200 this spring. And this is the point in spring training where you really want to get it going, lock it in, getting ready for opening day. I actually feel like Robinson's been swinging the bat pretty well lately. Batting average creeping over 200. Even around the batting cage today, Bob, you can kind of sense that these guys have had enough of spring training. The regulars, you know, they're looking forward to that game action when it counts for real.
And you really do hear that a lot from a lot of guys. Now's the time to kind of dial it up. And there's just very few guys that do need the extra time. Nick Swisher, we talked about him in the open, would be one. Might see some game action on Friday, but they're taking their time with him and that sore groin. And a swing and a miss at 94, 1-1.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. If you're a spring training, you're a guy like Ibanez, you know, you want to start putting some good at bats together, getting some positive thoughts for opening day. Alex Rodriguez, who is on deck, just continue what you've been doing. Hopefully you have that good feel in the batter's box.
And a chopper to second base. Kelly Johnson comes in, chases Jeter back. Instead, he'll get hung up with the throw over to first and tagged out. So the unconventional double play to end the inning. As we head to the top of the second, Blue Jays on the board first against CC Sabathia. They lead it 1-0.
Pizza Hut's $10 any deal is back, so you don't have to settle for less than the pizza you want. Carry out any pizza, any size, with any toppings on our world-famous pan, thin and crispy, or hand-tossed crust for just $10. Great pizzas don't happen when you settle for good.
Any technology not moving forward is moving backward. Introducing the Lexus Enform App Suite. Available now on the all-new 2013 Lexus GS. There's no going back. See your Lexus dealer.
Single Christians, good news. ChristianMingle.com has more than 5 million registered members. Almost 2 million new members in the past year alone. Joining is easy and free. Find God's match for you at ChristianMingle.com today.
This Sunday, two of the biggest superstars of all time collide at the greatest event in entertainment. The Rock, John Cena. Once in a lifetime. Plus, it will be the end of an era when Triple H and The Undertaker clash inside Hell in a Cell. The time has come for an event like never before. WrestleMania. Live this Sunday on DirecTV pay-per-view.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Oh, boy. Thank you. You make me feel so young.
Think young. Pass it on.
You make me feel so spring has sprung.
Well, 2011, a season in review for the Blue Jays and a season to build on. 81 wins for new manager John Farrell last year. Jose Bautista winning his second straight home run crown with 43 round trippers. They find an ace in Ricky Romero, a guy that not only leads on the hill but in the clubhouse as well. And rookie Brett Lowry making a big impact. They can just pencil him in at third base in that lineup and not worry about that. He has solidified the hot corner. And again, one of the rising young stars for this Blue Jays team. Is it this the year that they make it back to the playoffs? Is it 2013 or 14? John Farrell would like it to be this season. And again, maybe the second wild card which will be instituted opens the door for that. But they'll have to improve on those 81 wins, especially, Flash, as we know, in that very difficult American League East.
Well, it's going to be a battle all the way around in the East. I mean, Tampa Bay will be right there, the Yankees, the Red Sox.
And Eric Thames, the grounder over to Robbie Cano, one away.
I always feel, Bob, with teams like the Blue Jays, you know, where you have a lot of good young players and they're surrounded by solid veterans. If you can get off to a good start, and you're John Farrell, the manager, and you're instilling this winning attitude, all of a sudden, 2 months into the season, you say, you know what, we believe we can do this. We have a shot to hang in there. You know, you have a good series against the Yankees or a good series against the Rays. All of a sudden, everybody gets on board and good things happen.
And here is Brett Lowry. Last season in 43 games, 9 homers, 25 runs batted in. Lowry hard hit to right. Andrew Jones retreating to the track, looking up, a leap and a miss as the ball goes off about a foot underneath the top of the wall. And Lowry will head to third with a one-out triple.
Well, everybody around the Blue Jays, including Brian Butterfield, the third base coach, has been raving about Lowry, what he did last year when he came over, and what kind of things he's going to do this year. This ball is hammered to right field. The wind blowing in, it's the only reason it stayed in the ballpark. Andrew Jones, a pretty good bid going up against the wall, and you can see right off the top of the wall. Impressed me is that swing, Bob, but also Lowry rounding the bases. I mean, he's got some wheels that I didn't realize he had last year. Stand-up triple.
So he's on third with one away. A little flare to second base. Robbie Cano will check the runner and go over to first. So JP Arancibia not able to get the job done, and he'll be 2 away.
Well, a great job by CC Sabathia and a pretty good job of base running by Lowry. Your CC, you're looking for a strikeout or a jam shot in that situation. He got the jam shot, and Lowry, a little humpback liner, could not read it whether it was going to hit the dirt or not. Tough base running play. He made the right decision. Let's see, a fastball in on the hands, jams Arancibia. A little humpback liner. Lowry can't figure out what's going to happen. Has to make sure and retreats back to third.
And here's Colby Rasmus, the center fielder. Another acquisition for them last season from the Cardinals. You see the splits between St. Louis and Toronto fell out of favor with Tony La Russa, and they decided to change the scenery would probably be best. CC missing inside, 1-1.
Well, They were talking about a change of scenery, but when he came over to the Blue Jays, only hit 173 in 133 at bats. The Blue Jays excited about the potential of Rasmus in center field.
And CC in with a strike, 1-2.
It's only been an inning and 2/3, but CC Sabathia looks like he has a nice tight slider today. We mentioned probably his last long session here tonight. His next outing in spring training will probably be abbreviated.
And Russell Martin, nice block there as the count moves even to 2-2.
It's nothing new for Russell Martin. We saw this all last year. Tight slider down in the dirt, glove goes down, the body follows. Just another run save for Russell Martin.
And the 2-2 and lifted foul. Now, the whole idea of spring is to build pitchers up. You're talking about pulling back on that last session. Is that just to keep him fresh for that season opener?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you want to get his pitch count up tonight and, you know, look maybe 6-7 innings, pitch count maybe at 80, 85, possibly 90. And then his next outing abbreviated. Probably have a pitch count in mind, I don't know, 40 or 50. And then you turn him loose on opening day in Tampa.
And a breaking ball in there for a strike. Terrific pitch there from CC Sabathia to wrap things up here in the top of the second. So the Blue Jays strand Lowry at third. Sabathia ending it with a strikeout. We head to the bottom of the second.
At Papa John's, coming up with unique tasting creations, now that's our specialty.
It's Papa John's new Buffalo Chicken Pizza. Get a large for only $10. Featuring all white chicken with creamy ranch and drizzled with spicy buffalo sauce. It's got more zing than a wing. That's Papa John's quality for just $10. Plus, get any large pizza with your choice of any toppings, even specialties, just $11 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Considering all your mouth goes through, do you really think brushing is enough to keep it clean? While brushing misses germs in 75% of your mouth, Listerine cleans virtually your entire mouth. So take your oral health to a whole new level. Listerine, power to your mouth.
Single Christians, good news. At ChristianMingle.com, members send more than 100,000 messages every day. Without sending one of those messages, I never would have met my beautiful wife. Joining is easy and free. Find God's match for you at ChristianMingle.com today.
Do you think you know fishing?
Yeah! It's not what we're used to.
Think again.
No practice, no waypoints.
Because Outdoor Channel is changing the game.
Real-time scoring so you know what everybody else is doing. You do something wrong, this guy's fixing to put you in a penalty box. It changes the way you fish.
New game.
Yes.
New rules.
I'm shaking like a leaf.
No limits.
Lights out.
Major League Fishing premieres Thursday, March 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern on Channel 606.
Well, later tonight, get a preview of the upcoming season with the Yankees 2012 Pride, Power, and Pinstripes. Join the Yes crew in Tampa. We'll examine the key storyline challenges for the upcoming season, roster breakdowns, player interviews, and much more. It's Yankees 2012 tonight after the game only on Yes. With the Blue Jays leading 1-0, bottom of the second. Alex Rodriguez leading things off. 4, 5, 6 hitters for Kyle Drabek. And Alex fouling one away, 1-1.
Well, really good news to see Alex Rodriguez back in the lineup tonight. He took that fastball in the ribs on Sunday, a day off yesterday, and right back at it tonight. Thought for sure he would miss a few days.
And a chopper foul, and he went down quickly. We'll take a look at it, Flash, but bounced up really quickly, too.
This got it good. Remember that right-hander had a good running fastball. Was thrown about 95, 96. I thought for sure Alex would take a few days, but he's right back in there. And probably the last thing the Yankees, Joe Girardi, Brian Cashman wanted to see, because Alex has had one of those springs kind of flying under the radar, swinging the bat well, staying away from the little injuries.
And 2-2, hot shot foul again.
Spring could not have gone any better for Alex Rodriguez until that fastball in the ribs.
And you mentioned the players and coaches, manager ready to get out of here, ready to play ball, but you hate going into defense mode too. You don't want to think that way with a week left. Let's keep these guys healthy.
It is a mental challenge at this point in spring training. You know, and just for a guy like Alex, who swung the bat well from the first pitch of spring training till this point, you know, mentally you got to keep yourself locked in. You can't relax and say, oh, it's a spring training game. Still have 11 days or so until opening day. You got to mentally try to challenge yourself every at bat.
3-2 pitch, 96, and Alex goes down swinging.
Well, Drabek, first round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies for a reason. He has a good arm. Challenges Alex on the inner half with a fastball right by him. Just a nightmare of a season last year for Drabek, trying to start fresh here in 2012 and have a quality season.
And here's Raul Ibanez, swings at a breaking pitch, 0-1. Ibanez, as we know, has been struggling this spring, just batting .075, but hit his first home run a few days ago.
It's amazing, Bob. You look at Alex Rodriguez, we just mentioned, just stay where you're at mentally, you know, keep your swing where you need it to be. And Ibanez, the total end of the spectrum, other end of the spectrum, having a tough spring. You want to get a couple of hits to get yourself going, get some confidence.
And swings at a pitch up by his eyes, and 3 pitches. He's done with a strikeout. So maybe a little over anxious there. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I think also, you know, sometimes hitters go through stretches where you're just not seeing the ball. A first pitch slider in the dirt he swung at, and then a fastball up out of the zone. You know, 3 pitches, and 2 of those pitches were not strikes, and he offered at it. It just tells me a veteran guy who at this point just isn't seeing the ball real well, and it happens. It happens to every hitter. But you want to get to this point in spring training, a couple of good at bats, so you don't have to worry about an at bat like that.
And here's Russell Martin, takes a breaking pitch, and though he ducks out of the way, called for a strike.
Well, that must be the new high strike from Marty Foster, because Russell Martin is laughing. See any way that could be a high strike right there.
Aaron Sibia pulled it down quickly, a little more belt level. So the 0-1 goes in with another breaking ball and misses. 1-1.
Now they're even. That looked like a pretty good pitch. Now let's play ball.
And Drabek coming inside, missing, 2-1. And he knows now the door's wide open with Dustin McGowan, has a little plantar fasciitis in his right foot. Probably won't start the season. They're building him up slowly, so he's got a shot to have that 5th spot.
And the numbers we mentioned from last year for Drabek, you know, they probably, the Blue Jays organization would probably want him to go to AAA for the whole year, have a solid season, so when he does come up, he's ready to stay in the big leagues. But John Farrell might not have that luxury with McGowan going down with a little foot problem. Well, this start for Drabek will show John Farrell just what he wants to see, positively or negatively. You're going against pretty much the #1 lineup for the Yankees. An opportunity to take that 5th spot in the rotation if he has a good outing tonight.
And 3-2. Martin stays alive, fouls it away. And the 3-2. And Drabek thought he had it, misses away, or perhaps a little low, and Martin's on with a 2-out walk. So there's your projected rotation. Ricky Romero's really stepped ahead as an ace. 15 wins, an ERA under 3 last season. Brandon Morrow, 11-11. ERA up about 5. Brett Cecil struggling as well. Again, we talked about the demotion. Henderson Alvarez had an impact when he came up, and then again, Dustin McGowan, who's had a myriad of injuries, 3 major surgeries over the course of the last 4 seasons, and now battling a little right foot injury. So had everything shaken out, and he was healthy. He just signed an extension, in fact. Kind of a low scale, high risk, high reward. It wasn't big money for the Blue Jays, a guarantee of $3 million, but they want to keep him under their control and let him build up and get healthy.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that extension. You know, for a guy who's been hurt as much as he has been, McGowan taking a little security for less money.
Well, he said they showed loyalty to him as he came back from arm surgeries, and he wanted to show some loyalty to them as well. Here's Andrew Jones. 3 runs batted in so far this spring. No homers. Martin's at first with 2 away. And Jones slammed into left, a base hit. And that'll set up first and second with 2 outs. Another guy this spring that doesn't have the average to show, and it sounds so cliche, but he has been hitting the ball hard. We've seen that the past couple of games that we've called.
Yeah, it seems like every game we do on Yes, Andrew Jones hits some balls hard. But here, a perfect example, Bob, of the Yankees offensively. You know, Drabek gets 2 quick outs, and you're thinking it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. Russell Martin grinds out an at-bat, works a walk. Andrew Jones a base hit. Now the young righty finds himself pitching out of a little bit of jam here with 2 outs in the second.
And facing the number 8 batter tonight, Brett Gardner. Again, Gardner moved up from 9 to 8 as we see the squirrel exit stage right from the backstop screen. And Gardner looks at strike 1. Granderson out tonight, so Gardner moved up. Justin Maxwell moving into the 9th spot in the order. Gardner would like to get his bat going. 184 this spring. Has yet to knock in a run. Drabek missing low, 1-1.
Well, good opportunity here for Brett Gardner. I mean, a runner at second in scoring position with 2 outs. You know, you're not thinking about laying down a bunt to lead off an inning. You're thinking about driving a ball here. Get a little more aggressive in this at bat than you were maybe last year. Kevin Long, the hitting instructor, looking for a little more aggressiveness.
Yeah, base hit up the middle. Nice work there by Gardner as Martin will get waved around. Strong throw home from the center fielder Rasmus, and they got him. So nice defensive play there. Colby Rasmus with the scoop and the throw and a clean 1-hop to J.P. Arancibia, and they got him. So in the bid for the Yankees to tie things up here in the bottom half of the second, Rasmus says not so fast. The hop to Arancibia, and Martin is out at the plate.
Opening day is almost here, and MLB Network is ready. With live coverage all day and the Dodgers-Padres season opener at night. Every ballpark is home to MLB Network. Opening day coverage built by the Home Depot begins Thursday, April 5th at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network.
Considering all your mouth goes through, do you really think brushing is enough to keep it clean? While brushing misses germs in 75% of your mouth, Listerine cleans virtually your entire mouth. So take your oral health to a whole new level. Listerine, power to your mouth.
Away is the smell of salt in the air. It's the sound a seashell makes. Away is a place that's beyond your imagination, yet well within your means. Find your away. For a dealer in the RV that's right for you, visit GoRVing.com.
Introducing new Nature Valley protein bars. 100% natural ingredients like roasted peanuts, creamy peanut butter, and a rich dark chocolate flavor. Plus 10 grams of great tasting protein in every bar. So it's energy straight from nature to you. New Nature Valley protein bars. Find them in the granola bar aisle.
30 games from 30 clubs in 30 days starts Thursday, April 5th.
I will never question being a father. I think that's the biggest thing, just to know this game is very important to me. It allows me to do a lot of things, but my son is my pride and joy, and I think that was the biggest thing, is to, you know, don't be don't be so hard on yourself and realize, what you were doing. You're trying to be a great dad. And it's still frustrating because I feel like I let him down, but I think, that's the biggest thing that I got, and just another hill that I've had to climb. And, we'll get over it, and we'll get going and be better for it.
Jan Gomes with a leadoff double here against CC Sabathia in the top half of the third. That was Jabba Chamberlain earlier today here at the stadium addressing his ankle injury. And Jack Hurry joins us now. Jack, you were at that press conference. A lot of emotion, obviously, especially when he had to answer questions about why he did what he did, jumping on the trampoline and ultimately getting injured.
Right, Bob. The answer that we just heard came off a question of someone saying, did you learn anything from this accident, from this incident? And as our viewers just saw, Jabba did get pretty emotional in talking about his son, but he did field questions about, was he careless, was he reckless? And that was his answer, that he was in this facility, just he and his 5-year-old son. There was no one else around. And what happened is he also gave the chronology of the event, which we haven't had up until this time, but he was jumping from trampoline to trampoline, and that's when the ankle injury occurred.
And that is Kelly Johnson with a base hit that will score Jan Gomes and make it 2-0 Jays. So what is that chronology, and does it differ from what we've heard to this point?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Ryan with your Chevrolet in-game update. Earlier in the day, the Braves and the Mets and NL Rookie of the Year runner-up Freddie Freeman, the big day, the home run off John Roush in the 7th inning. Then again in the 9th inning, he connects, this time off Ramon Ramirez. 2 home runs for Freeman as the Braves go on for the 7-5 win over the Mets. Let's get you back out to the Blue Jays and the Yankees.
And then Brian Cashman gave us a further description, and imagine your 2 feet looking forward as your feet are supposed to if there's no injury. Well, his right ankle was turned at about a 45-degree angle towards his left foot, and that's how badly he injured the ankle at that point.
Now, the initial report was an open dislocation, that the bone had actually protruded through the skin. Is that what Jabba seemed to indicate? Because he didn't seem to indicate that there was a lot of fright or fear in what happened.
Right, he did say that it didn't hurt. He said, shockingly enough, this did not hurt very much. I shouldn't say it didn't hurt. It hurt, obviously, to a certain extent, but he wasn't in a lot of pain. Yes, we had to actually go back, and I called Brian Cashman because I said some of what the Yankees have said up until this point conflicted with what Jabba said, and Brian Cashman then went and talked to Jabba Chamberlain, talked to the doctor, and what the Yankees have said all along is accurate. It was an open dislocation of the subtalar joint, and Cashman said open means that the bone broke the skin. He said he thinks that what Jabba meant is that there wasn't a large portion of the bone through the skin, but to get the blood and to get the injury that he had, some part of the bone did pierce the skin.
So maybe the indication that it wasn't quite as gruesome as people thought, and that because of that, perhaps the recovery period, at least for Jabba and in his mind, won't be as long as some people might think.
Right, and Cashman said in listening to reporters' questions about Jabba, listen, he said this guy is a very optimistic guy, and he's positive, and he wants to believe that he can get back this year, and he's looking for ways to maybe move forward and not focus on the injury and say to himself, hey, this wasn't that bad, and I can fight my way back through it. He's predicting that he will pitch in 2012. Brian Cashman said it's way too early to make that prediction.
And that is CC Sabathia against Yunel Escobar with a strike. Kelly Johnson on first, and the Jays leading 2-0. Anything else about the Jabba situation that we need to know about? Or again, the prognosis, the Yankees just don't have any idea.
No, you don't have any idea. I mean, Brian Cashman said, listen, he might pitch this year. He might not pitch this year. He might come back and be very good. He might come back and struggle, and then there are all sorts of things you have to deal with at that point. It's just way too early to know. I mean, this is a guy who was coming back from Tommy John surgery. He thinks that he could still do upper body work, and he will continue to do that. But you can't fault him for saying he believes he's going to get back. That's what an optimistic athlete should do. But then if you're Brian Cashman and you're the Yankees, the general manager of the team, you can't make that prediction yet. They just don't know.
Jack, give me a timetable. Cast on his ankle for what, 6 weeks?
6 weeks, and he actually was moving pretty well with crutches. I mean, he got across the press conference room floor pretty quickly, but obviously it's all according to how his body responds and how he reacts. He was putting a very sunny disposition on it, and again, Cashman said that's who Jabba is. He's an optimistic guy, and we'll be in his corner. We'll do everything we can for him. Brian Cashman, guys, was asked similar questions to the one that that Jabba broke down on. He was asked, was this a careless act? Is there anything you need to say to him as the GM of the team? And Brian said, listen, he's going through a lot right now. I don't think it's necessary for me to say anything.
A little chopper to second from Escobar. Robbie Cano gets one, but that will do it. So Johnson out at second, one away here in the top of the third. Well, you talked about optimism, and there has been optimism all spring now since Andy Pettitte rejoined the team. He threw again today, a live BP session. What did they get out of that?
Tell you what, Bob, he threw 2 innings covering 35 pitches, and this is the beauty of spring training. He did it on a backfield where there's just a dugout there, so a couple of us just happened to be watching from the dugout. After his first inning, I was able to eavesdrop on a conversation between he and Nick Swisher, and Nick Swisher was just raving about Pettitte's stuff to him. He said, that changeup that you threw me, he said, that was so smooth. Everything coming out of your hand, it just looks like you never left. And Pettitte loved everything about what he did today. Ironically enough, the one pitch that he didn't feel great about is one of his bread and butter pitches, the cutter. But he thinks that will come with feel. And then again later on, after the session was over, Swisher was raving about it and said, you would think that this guy was on par with everybody else, hadn't taken more than a year off. The Yankees were very excited about it. And the thing that Andy was excited about it, guys, was the late movement on his pitches. He faced Chris Dickerson and Nick Swisher, and he said he could tell by the way they weren't reacting to his pitches that they had a lot of late movement.
And this is Jose Bautista with one away, grounded to second in his first at bat.
Now, was this a batting practice session where he was telling them what was coming?
Well, that's what was great about it, John, is no. The last time he did a live BP, right, he was saying fastball, cutter. This time, for the first inning, Larry Rothschild was there, as we see Larry Rothschild, Mike Harkey, Joe Girardi. David Wells made a cameo to watch it. First inning, he threw from behind a screen, too. But for the second inning, Andy got more comfortable and said he wanted to throw without the screen in front of him, as we see a strikeout there of Bautista. And he really was excited, as I said, about the late movement of the pitches. There we see the screen. That's early in his session. But no, John, not telling the batters what was coming, and I think that made a major difference, because obviously if you know what's coming, you can brace for the cutter, you can brace for the changeup, and he really looked good.
Well, it sounds to me like he's accelerating that process of maybe getting into a spring training game. Any word about that?
We asked him that. He said he asked that same question, and Larry Rothschild tells him, let's take it day to day. He's supposed to have another bullpen session on Thursday, but he's now thrown two innings in a bullpen session. I would imagine he would advance to maybe 3 on Thursday, and you have to think that after that, you want him to face major league hitters, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in spring training at some point.
Yeah, Joe Girardi will ask him about that coming up a little bit later when he joins us. A little ground ball to Cano at second, and he'll just step on the bag. So, Jack, stick around. We got some other news and notes coming up with you, but that'll do it here top of the third, with the Jays now leading it 2-0.
Catch another spring training game on MLB Network, home of more than 150 games this month. Coming up next, after 30 clubs in 30 days, it'll be the Rockies versus the D-backs at 11 Eastern. Spring training baseball coming your way tonight on MLB Network.
This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound.
You feel that?
No.
The E-Assist is working right now.
That's Spandau Ballet, man. You did this all the way to the restaurant.
Yeah, we were going uphill, getting extra horsepower from a battery-powered generator. It's helping us conserve fuel. This is important.
The all-new 37 MPG Highway Chevy Malibu Eco. From new technology to old friends, Chevy runs deep.
With Pizza Hut's Wing Wednesdays, all you need's a handful of quarters to turn boring Wednesdays into 50-cent Wing Wednesdays. Every wing, every flavor, every Wednesday, only 50 cents each, and only at your Pizza Hut.
It's our weekend. Should we spend it wandering in some home improvement warehouse? No. Say we go to Ace. Yeah. Get help when we walk in the door. Because we will maintain our homes and our weekend. Yeah.
Your in-store wingman helps get your weekend back at Ace.
I'm getting up. Beast mode is no excuses. You wake up in the morning, if you're tired, beast mode doesn't care. If you're sick, beast mode doesn't care. Beast mode cares about nothing other than doing your work, getting the job done, and preparing for you to be the best.
Oh, I don't know what they done told you, but being an athlete is not easy.
Well, Yankees fans, individual game tickets for the 2012 season at Yankee Stadium are now on sale at Yankees.com and through Ticketmaster. Get your tickets today to see the Yankees take on the rest of the American League, as well as some great interleague matchups. And you do not want to miss the 66th annual Old Timers Day, Sunday, July 1st. All you have to do, go to Yankees.com or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Bottom of the third, Jays up 2-0, and Justin Maxwell, the number 9 hitter, leading things off against Kyle Drabek, and a grounder foul. Jack Curry is back with us, and Jack, Curtis Granderson was supposed to be in this lineup tonight, as usual in the number 2 hole playing center field, but he was a late scratch. So tell us what happened there.
Right, Brian Cashman said that Granderson has been dealing with some elbow soreness for the last couple of days. He talked about it with the trainers and with Joe Girardi today. So they scratched him from the lineup. He's going to have a precautionary MRI tomorrow. Cashman said he emphasized precautionary. He said on a scale of 1 to 10, his concern level is a 2. But he said where you are in spring training, you might as well get it done. Obviously, Granderson is such an important part of this team and this offense. They want to make sure that this is just a sore elbow and nothing worse than that.
And 2-2 to Maxwell. Drabek missing inside. The count goes full. And Flash and I were talking about that earlier, the balancing act of, you just want to play ball and go out there, but you don't want to go into defense mode either. You want everybody breaking camp and being healthy, and just got these little things. Good to see, for example, A-Rod didn't have any lingering issue with the ribs, but Granderson with that elbow now.
Right. A-Rod didn't have any lingering issues, although behind the batting cage today, he did say you should see the bruise that he has from that 94-mile-per-hour pitch that he got hit with.
Swing and a miss for Maxwell. One away here in the bottom of the third round.
I think, Bob, when you talk to most players, and John could vouch for this, they usually say they like to have that last week of games to get themselves geared up for the season and get your 28 or 30 at-bats or whatever it is when you're a regular. So everything up until there, you're okay, but you start creeping into that final week of spring training, and then you wonder if a guy who's battling an injury will be ready for opening day.
Well, Derek Jeter is rounding into shape, coming off that strained calf. He's moved from 3 innings to 5, and I'd see him for a little more tonight. A good way to start things off in the bottom of the first with a single.
Well, speaking of a guy who's looking to get back in the lineup, how about Nick Swisher? He's getting to the point where he needs some at-bats.
Yeah, he was one of the hitters today in the live BP session against Pettit. And here's his schedule, guys. He's going to go to the minor league complex on Wednesday and Thursday, and what he's going to do there is just get a ton of at-bats. That will allow him, he won't have to worry about playing in an exhibit game here. The thing that he still feels as if he has to test is exploding out of the batter's box. He said swinging a bat, he's fine, but it's the running part of it that he has to do. Remember, he had groin injuries both left and right. He now says that the left groin feels fine, but it's the right that is still bothering him. And he needs to simulate that running out of the box to tell himself that he's okay. If everything goes okay on Wednesday and Thursday at the minor league field, he will play in Friday's game. He'll take Saturday off, and then they'll see where things stand on Sunday. I would imagine if he did play in the game on Friday, he wouldn't play a full game. We'll see him again, just as Girardi has done with Jeter, bring him back slowly.
And 1-2 now to Derek Jeter with 1 away here in the bottom of the third. And Drabek just missing away 2-2. So the idea that the batting, the hitting will not affect him at all in the groin. It's maybe breaking out of the box, and then if they don't want him playing defense yet.
Absolutely, and I still think that's a big if. I mean, you can't have a runner for you. He has to be able to get up there and swing the bat and be able to run. So it's a challenge he's got to get over.
And a swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts in successive innings for Drabek. And with 2 away, you see Mark Teixeira.
And kind of in line with what you guys, Bob, were talking about, Swisher did say, opening day is coming up, man. You know, he's never at a loss for enthusiasm. He said, I've got to get myself ready. So he's looking at the calendar, too. He realizes how close it is, and he does have enough time, but these are big tests for him, and Friday will be a very important test for him if he can get to that point.
Well, I think back to Derek Jeter, who's battling the calf problem, and Joe Girardi said, you know what, come out of the box slow, take it easy, and he was able to do that. I wonder if Nick Swisher can do the same thing, tone it down a little bit.
I don't think it's a bad idea, especially since he said it's a little iffy and he's still feeling a little bit. But you also probably don't want to baby it for the next week or so, and then you get into the season and you're lost for 15 days or something like that.
And Teixeira into left field, and as Thames tracks it down, Texas heading towards second, and he's in there with a stand-up double with 2 away. How about Mark Teixeira? Their flash going the other way.
You know, watching his batting practice today, his first round, everything was the other way. Kevin Long, the hitting instructor, said Mark is going to make a conscious effort to use the whole field from the left side, and there's a good example of it right there. Pretty good pitch by Drabek, down and away. Mark just slices it the other way for a stand-up double.
And with 2 outs, there's Robinson Cano. Now listen, Tex has always been a good hitter. We know the average hasn't been maybe where he's wanted it the past season or two, but how much do you think losing about 15 pounds, really leaning out but staying muscular, will help him, maybe just in terms of bat speed, Flash?
I think when you're a professional player in the offseason, you try to get yourself in the best shape that you can possibly be in, so you eliminate some questions in your mind, maybe a lack of bat speed, whatever it is. I think the approach for Mark is going to be so much different. It's going to be more middle field the other way, and he's going to realize he's quick enough inside to hit those home runs instead of trying to go out and hook balls into the seats. Can he do that when maybe you need a big home run? Will he go out there and still try to hook one?
And I'm just thinking, for example, in that at bat, it allows you have the confidence to let it go a little deeper into the zone and then go to the opposite field.
And those are the things Kevin Long has worked on with him this spring training. I'm sure he will stay on him about that throughout the season. And as far as the weight loss goes, Teixeira has told me that it's been an energy boost too, that he feels as if he has more energy. And these guys, we all know it. It's a 162 game season. Any little bit of edge that you can give yourself, even if part of it is physical and part of it is mental, if he feels like he has more energy because he knocked off 12 or 15 pounds, it works. Even if it's a placebo effect to a certain point, it works.
And Cano waiting for the 2-1 pitch from Drabek. Teixeira on second. And a swing and a miss. And Jack, really quickly, more players, it seemed, maybe it just got more attention, really came in with a focus on fitness in the offseason. CeCe, Teixeira, Swisher, Russell Martin. We know about his MMA and UFC training. I mean, a lot of different guys came in.
Phil Hughes is another one, and he was a guy who really had to do that, and he's had a great spring. And I think John and I and you, Bob, we've talked about this maybe on camera and off camera. When this is your profession and this is what you do for a living and your body is part of how you earn your living, I think you would be foolish not to come to spring training in the best possible shape to help your team, help yourself, further your career.
And Cano a ground ball to second. And that'll do it here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. So the Yankees get another one aboard but can't score. Jack, thanks. We'll catch up with you a little bit later. We take it to the top of the 4th here in Tampa.
I'm Sam Ryan with your MLB Authentic Collection studio update. Earlier in the day, the Phillies facing the Pirates. Cliff Lee dominant on the mound, top of the 2nd. He strikes out Pedro Alvarez, top of the 3rd. He gets a pair of Pirates looking. Lee went 6 shutout innings, allowed just 3 hits. And then Scott Podsednik providing the game winner in the bottom of the 9th here. And he connects the walk-off home run. The Phillies win it 5-4. Podsednik now batting .362 this spring. Immediately following the game, the Washington Nationals edition of 30 Clubs in 30 Days. Then tomorrow morning at 9 Eastern, the regular season begins with the Mariners facing the A's from Tokyo. That's your MLB Authentic Collection studio update.
Seen the signs on the passers-by, something's got to give. Can't be free, but it's good for me. But this good thing comes along, and I can't deny too long.
Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
There is a rhythm of the seasons, so we've developed styles of beer to accompany that. We brew Oktoberfest, Winter Lager, Alpine Spring, and right now there's Summer Ale.
Samuel Adams Summer Ale is a flavorful wheat beer. It has a very nice spice note.
It has a little lemon zest and a historic brewing spice called Grains of Paradise. It's citrusy.
Lemon. Flavorful, refreshing.
Wow.
Sam Adams Summer Ale, it's just something about it. It's like totally reminds you of summer, you know?
Well, Thursday night, the march towards opening day continues when the Yankees welcome the Baltimore Orioles here at Steinbrenner Field. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock as Ken Singleton and David Cone have all the action only on Yes. Now, I hope that flight is coming in. If it's not, David Cohn's on it, we got a problem. You might have to stick around. So here we go, top of the fourth. CC Sabathia against Eric Thames, are grounded to second in his first at bat.
See how they do that, Bob? Baltimore comes in, Kenny Singleton comes in. You see that connection there?
I do, I see it. And that ball lifted foul and into the seats. 2-0 Jays lead here in the fourth inning. 1 in the first, 1 in the third for Toronto. And a line drive into left field. And Maxwell is there, 1 away. Bring up Brett Lowry, who tripled in the second inning, 1 of 2 triples against CC tonight. The first one in the top of the first resulted in a run. Terrific spring for him, 577, gaudy numbers, 8 runs batted in.
Was traded for Sean Markham last year. Kid's from Canada, so a little homecoming. But Bob, you look at this kid, and it's only a matter of time before he is a middle of the lineup force, and you can see the resume.
From British Columbia, Canada, 16th overall pick by the Brewers. You mentioned the Sean Markham trade, and then made his major league debut last August. And again, they think this is a guy that could be one of those cornerstone players. Does not lack for confidence. There's no doubt about that.
No, you know, Brian Butterfield, the third base coach for the Blue Jays, an ex-Yankee, actually. I mean, he's one of the best baseball guys in the business. And I got to see him for 10 seconds today, Bob.
Yeah.
And he just said, Brett Lowry. Watch this kid play. He said he's got it all and he's got the makeup.
That could be the fastest scouting report you've ever received.
And you know, when Butter tells you something too, I mean, he's seen it all. He's seen so many players, infielders, one of the best infield instructors. But it was just, this kid has got it. So you look forward, his first at bat, driving a ball deep to right field. Wouldn't be surprised if he moves up the lineup at some point during the season.
And Lowry hard hit again out to right center field. That ball traveling well and gone well over the wall. Brett Lowry, oh excuse me, that one hopped, a ground rule double. I saw Jones give up on that, thought that it had sailed over the wall, a ground rule double. So a triple and a double for Brett Lowry. 1 away here in the top of the fourth.
Well, and you see some young hitters who have power, but it's pull power. That is not this kid. 2 at bats and great extension out over the plate. Looks like right field and right center is going to be his power stroke. And you watch him come out of the box. I mean, he looks like a linebacker running with good speed, bounces over the wall. Back to back at bats, having a nice spring continuing tonight.
And by the sound of it, I should lobby for dark blue advertising signs out in the gap in right center. Anyway, Lowry's on second. JP Arancibia is the batter. CC got him to ground to second in his first at bat. And a swing and a miss. 0-2.
So the numbers in spring training: 4 home runs for Arancibia last year, 23 home runs, batting average only .219, but clearly a power catcher behind the plate. Give you a little pop in the lineup. 78 RBIs last year. And you look for him too, Bob. We're talking about this Blue Jay team. Can he get a little bit better behind the plate, maybe throwing, working with the staff, and maybe improve that batting average a little bit?
And in terms of the catcher's position for this team, they're going to have to rely on him more in terms of hitting and average. The veteran Jeff Mathis is the backup now. Jose Molina, who had a good year as a backup hitting last year, took the 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Rays. And now they brought in Mathis, a guy who career-wise is a sub-200 hitter.
Yeah, but I like the mix they have behind the plate. I mean, you have Arancibia, who is known as a power guy, which is fine. I mean, obviously very valuable. 23 home runs, 78 RBIs. Then you bring in the veteran Mathis. maybe a late inning defensive replacement, day game after a night game, work with the pitching staff, and that's what that man John Farrell is all about, the pitching staff. I think Mathis will be a nice addition. You don't ask him to play every day, just do your part.
And lifted out to left and deep, and that's Maxwell tracking it down. A couple steps onto the track. And Lowry will retreat and tag, but stay at second. 2 away.
A little breeze coming in from right field, not overpowering like it was during batting practice. Did not help Aaron Sibia at all with that fly ball to left field. Slight breeze coming in from right.
2 away, and Colby Rasmus is the batter. Rasmus struck out looking in his first at bat. And CeCe and Russell Martin will get together.
It could be a talk about the signs with Lowry at second base for 1 at bat already, getting a good look at the sequence. Could be also about facing the lefty Rasmus, who the Yankees saw a little bit at the end of the year last year, but maybe trying to get on the same page. CeCe Sabathia and Russell Martin.
And a chopper over the head of Alex Rodriguez at third. And Maxwell having problems with it, so Lowry is in. And the Jays have a 3-0 lead. Not much Alex could do about that hop.
Yeah, not much CeCe Sabathia can do either. He does a good job of beating Rasmus with this fastball. He slaps it off the dirt, the high hop. Wondering maybe if that got in the lights a little bit too for Alex Rodriguez. Then result, base hit, a 2-out base hit, and an RBI for Rasmus.
So a 3-0 Toronto lead, and that brings up the number 9 hitter Yan Gomes, who doubled and scored in the third. And fouls one away there, 0-1.
Gomes has made quite an impression this spring training. With those numbers, you can see why. 458, a home run, and 8 RBIs. A young man who could catch, also play a little bit of first base, but what is going to get him to the big leagues is that swing from the right side. Opening up a lot of eyes in Blue Jay camp.
And what are they thinking about for him? Maybe 2013 arrival, something like that?
Yeah, I was talking to the radio guy today, and he was saying, you know what, this kid is going to be in the big leagues. His bat is going to get him there, but they don't need him now. They have Aaron Sibia behind the plate, but he's shown that he can play some different positions. Might not be too long before he gets an opportunity in Toronto.
Rasmus at first. 2 outs and the 1-1 to Gomes. And CeCe up high, 2-1. You mentioned a pitch count for CeCe Sabathia. Tonight he's at 64 right now. So could maybe get through a couple more innings.
His last outing in a minor league game, he threw 65 pitches, so he'll match that here. Usually the natural progression, about 15 more from start to start. We'll see how far Joe Girardi and Larry Rothschild let him go. But the slider has been really good for CeCe tonight. Haven't seen too many changeups. You wonder at this point in spring training, maybe CeCe working on one particular pitch that he hasn't been pleased with. The slider's been excellent tonight.
Rasmus stays put, and doesn't matter a bit because CeCe strikes out Gomes to end things here in the top half of the fourth, but the Jays add another. They're up 3-0.
Today, we stand against the tyranny of meager travel cards.
Battle speech, right?
May I?
Capital One is issuing a Venture Double Miles Challenge. Show us how much you spent last year. It will give you 2 miles for every $1 spent on your travel reward card, up to 100,000 miles.
Hawaii, here we come.
Claim your miles at CapitalOne.com today.
What's in your wallet? Can you play games on that?
Not on the runway.
The emotional burden of debt. Not everybody can understand it. The worry, the endless collection calls. We know what it's like to be in your shoes. We're the providers of Care One Debt Relief Services. How do we know? Bernie Dansell, who created Care One, has been in your shoes. Over 20 years ago, he had his own battle with debt, which motivated him to start what is now the nation's largest brand of debt relief services. We've helped over 5 million people just like you find a better way out of debt. Call our certified credit counselors for your free personalized plan. It's not a loan. It's not bankruptcy. We help you consolidate your unsecured debt into one affordable monthly payment. The only shame in being in debt is staying in debt when the solution is right in front of you. We understand. We were founded by someone who's been there. Call us today or visit careoneworks.com. Care One. We know what it's like to be in your shoes.
Well, tonight's game on Yes is brought to you in part by Chevy. With a full line of award-winning models, find out more at ChevyOffers.com. By Wendy's. Head to Wendy's and try one of our W Double Cheeseburgers. Dig into the W today. And by 5 Hour Energy. You gotta get stuff done. Great to have you with us tonight here in Tampa. Baseball under the lights at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Final meeting of 3 between the Toronto Blue Jays and Yankees. Looks like CC could be done for the night as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. And the Jays leading it 3-0. Alex Rodriguez will lead things off here. Struck out swinging in his first at bat against Kyle Drabek. And so far, what do you think of Drabek?
Well, he's shown me something. A good fastball. 94. I've seen him hit 96 tonight. He's been dropping a curveball in there for a strike and a good slider. I think more importantly, John Farrell, manager of the Blue Jays, an opportunity for Drabek to open some eyes tonight, and looks like he's done that.
And Alex Rodriguez with a rocket down the third baseline. And he will round and head to second. And A-Rod starting things off here in the bottom of the 4th with a leadoff double.
Well, good sign, Alex Rodriguez. We talked about that, getting hit in the ribs on Sunday, and he comes right back tonight with a good fastball down and in and takes care of it, clearing it right down the third base line. Had a good swing going all spring training and looked pretty good right there.
So good spot for Raul Ibanez here. Get his bat going and get the Yankees on the board potentially. Struck out on 3 pitches back in the 2nd. And looks at an inside pitch and misses 1-0.
You know, we think back to Ibanez's first at bat, 3 pitches and a strikeout, a few of them out of the strike zone badly. And sometimes, Bob, you got to take an at bat just to say, I'm going to see the ball, try to track it all the way to the catcher's mitt. Not that you give up the at bat, but you try to gain something by tracking the baseball and get yourself back to where you need to be. I'm sure a lot of things going through Raul's mind at this point. You know, batting average not good. Where are my hands? Not seeing the ball. Not an easy game when you're struggling offensively.
And though Drabek has looked good so far in the game, this is one of those moments that affected him last season. Behind a hitter that's struggling 2-0, and he misses again 3-0. Again, more walks than strikeouts last year for Drabek.
Yeah, and there's a pitch selection that maybe John Farrell might question. 2-0 to Ibanez, who's struggling, and he throws him a changeup with a 3-run lead. You know, and you miss, now it's 3-0. Possibility of a walk in a big inning. You know, sometimes you have to pitch to the scoreboard and say, you know what, this hitter's struggling a little bit. I have a 3-run lead. I'm going to challenge him. Good fastball away and see what he can do. Try to stay away from that big inning. If you give up 1 run, fine. You want to stay away from the big inning if you're a young righty.
Well, he's walked Ibanez, and he's got 2 aboard with nobody out.
This is what John Farrell wanted to see from Drabek. How is he going to handle some adversity in this ball game? Last year he lost his composure. Looking for a little bit more maturity from the righty. John Farrell from the dugout will be watching every pitch and how this kid reacts.
So Russell Martin now batting .250 this spring, walked in his first plate appearance. Rodriguez on second, Raul Ibanez at first, and Martin can't hold his swing. 0-1.
Pretty good pitch, first pitch from Drabek too. I don't know if that was a changeup, or maybe a split finger. It didn't look like it moved away from Russell Martin at all. Had him fooled for a little check swing. But a nice test for the young righty here. First and second, nobody out with a 3-run lead.
And fouled away. 0-2. Martin to the right side. Try and start the double play. They'll get the out at second, but Alex Rodriguez will advance to third, so it'll be first and third with one away. Encarnacion flipped to second, but that was the only out they could get.
Well, it's going to be disappointing for Drabek, the pitcher, because he made a pitch when he needed it, a ground ball, and Encarnacion a little wide throw to second base. Blue Jays only able to get one out, and if you're Drabek here, you're thinking you made the pitch to get a double play ball. Pretty routine, but the throw up the baseline a little bit, Escobar just takes the easy out.
And keep in mind, Encarnacion was not the starting first baseman when the game began. That was Adam Lind, the normal starter at first, but he got scratched with back stiffness. One away, runners at first and third, and here's Andrew Jones.
It's been a good pitch for strike one for Drabek all night. That big 12-6 curveball. Just drop it in there for a strike.
And absolutely hammered out to left field. Fair or foul? And it's foul. Wow, Andrew Jones jumped all over that pitch from Drabek. You can see his reaction.
Well, Bob, you mentioned Andrew Jones has been swinging the bat well lately. All the games that we're doing on Yes, he has been locked in just a little bit too quick. I'll tell you what, a good fastball inside, and Andrew took care of it with ease.
And Drabek 0-2 goes fastball outside and just misses 1-2.
Yeah, I like that pitch, Bob, from Drabek. You see John Farrell not happy with the call. That's a borderline strike. Could go either way. It's exactly where you want to put it if you're a pitcher on an 0-2 count. But I'm impressed he came right back with a fastball. I mean, the last one was turned around, went a long way, came right back to it.
And goes breaking ball instead. Takes a lot off that one and gets Andrew Jones swinging.
You know, was not his best curveball, Drabek's, but I'll tell you what, when you throw two fastballs, one inside, one outside that just misses, Andrew Jones had to respect the velocity and gets fooled on the curveball. John Farrell asking where that 0-2 pitch was. Pretty good to me.
So 2 away.
This is the curveball that it was not his best. It kind of just spun up in the zone. Andrew waiting for it to break, and it did not. You got to believe Drabek earned that strikeout a little bit with that 0-2 fastball that just missed down and away.
A-Rod on third, Martin on first with 2 away here in the bottom of the fourth, and Brett Gardner came up with a base hit actually in the second inning that could have scored a run, but Russell Martin was thrown out at the plate to end the inning. So a chance for the Yankees with 2 outs. And Gardner lifting one out to right center field, tailing back towards the center fielder Rasmus, who has it, and that will do it. So the Yankees threaten but can't score against Drabek. We'll take it to the top of the 5th. 3-0 Jays. We're going to hear from the skipper, Joe Girardi, coming up.
The Can-Am Renegade 1000 XXC with the most powerful engine in the industry. The Outlander 1000 XT with a redesigned chassis for unequal trail riding. The Commander 1000 Limited, the most equipped, luxurious side-by-side in the industry. The facts say it's the most advanced lineup out there, but the ride says it all. Buy now and start riding for as low as $149 a month on select models.
With Pizza Hut's Wing Wednesdays, all you need's a handful of quarters to turn boring Wednesdays into 50-cent Wing Wednesdays. Every wing, every flavor, every Wednesday, only 50 cents each, and only at your Pizza Hut.
Appears Buster's been busy.
Yeah, Scott. I was just about to use the...
That's a bunch of ground-up paper, lad. Scott's Easy Seed uses the finest seed, fertilizer and natural mulch that absorbs and holds water better than paper can. Looking good, lad.
Thanks, Scott. Easy Seed really works. So, how come Haggis is so well-behaved?
Because he's a Scotty. Oh. Get Scott's Easy Seed. It's guaranteed. Seed your lawn. Seed it.
Only one place takes you inside golf's most prestigious event. The Masters Mosaic from DirecTV. Watch 6 screens of enhanced coverage on one channel, including 2 marquee groups and every swing at Amen Corner. Plus expanded player stats, highlights on demand, and more. The only place to experience a major like this is DirecTV. The Masters Mosaic begins April 5th, starting at channel 701.
And we're back at the top of the 5th here in Tampa with the Blue Jays leading at 3-0 over the Yankees on the Audi scoreboard. And we welcome in, as always, the manager, Joe Girardi. Joe, great to have you with us tonight. A little baseball under the lights. You get to escape a little bit of the heat today.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because it's been so hot in spring training. We actually have 3 night games this week, so it's kind of nice. Tonight, Thursday, and Friday.
CC Sabathia back out for his 5th inning of work. He's given up 3 runs, some hard hit balls. What are you seeing out of him tonight?
Yeah, it seems like when he makes a mistake, this Blue Jay team is dangerous, and they don't just hit singles. You know, they're doubles and triples and home runs, and that's what he's done. And he made a mistake to Kelly Johnson the 1st inning. They got a triple, and they've been able to move the runners when they've gotten them on.
And this is Kelly Johnson leading things off.
You know, Joe, watching CC pitch tonight, that pitch right there, the slider, has been excellent, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's been his best pitch tonight. You know, I saw the inside, the changeup to Lowry, and it just didn't have any fade to it. It actually cut a little bit, and that's a real important pitch for him against right-handers. He's got to find a way to get that going.
You know, you mentioned that this team has some good young hitters, and you know, we've talked about this as a theme over the past year and a half about how much of a threat this Blue Jays team could be in the American League East. I mean, it's been you, Red Sox, and Rays to this point, but they're knocking on the door.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a big threat. You know, a lot of it hinges on, you know, some of their young kids coming through, but I think they're very talented. You see what Lowry's doing. You know, if Dustin McGowan stays healthy the whole year, he's an outstanding pitcher. What Rasmus does in center field, and it could be what Drabek does if he's their 5th starter, could make a huge difference for them.
You know, I'm glad you brought his name up, Joe. I mean, we were talking about the nightmare season Drabek had last year, but I'll tell you what, tonight and even in the 4th inning, working out 1st and 2nd, nobody out.
Yeah, he's got real good stuff. I mean, his dad did too, and obviously he knows how to pitch. And you know, sometimes when there's a trade like that and there's expectations, you know, he's replacing Roy Halladay. It's not easy to live up to those expectations, and you might go through some valleys before you find your little niche, but he looks pretty good tonight.
Well, a strikeout of Kelly Johnson there by CC, 1 away, and Yunel Escobar the batter. Now, more starting pitching news. Andy Pettitte, what's the plan for him? Because he looked again today in his live BP session.
Yeah, he'll have a bullpen probably in a couple days, and we'll see where he is after that. We'll probably have another, you know, probably BP session or simulated game, and we'll just keep plugging along until we feel that he's ready to get in the game. I thought he looked pretty good today. He got up to 35 pitches, which is, you know, pretty much 2 innings, but we're happy with where he's at and the way it's going.
Joe, do you feel a sense of urgency to get him in a major league spring training game or just a game across the street in a minor league game?
No, there's no sense of urgency. You know, one of the best years he had was, I believe it was 2009 or maybe it was 2010. When all he threw was under the cage because he kept getting rained out. So that seemed to work pretty well for him. So there's no rush, and we don't want to rush him because we don't want to hurt him. You know, he hasn't pitched in a year and a half, so when he's ready to pitch in a game, we'll put him in it.
Now, we also saw Jabba Chamberlain in the ballpark today as he addressed the media. Got to be good to see him obviously under unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, it's great to see him. It's good to see him out of the hospital, and obviously we want him back, and we're going to help him get back.
Shattered bat right back at CeCe. A little Olay for him. Jeter on to first for 2 away.
I'm glad he didn't try to grab it, because he tries to grab every ball that's hit through the middle. So I'm glad he kept that big paw down. But it was good to see Java. I think it's good for Java to get back around his teammates, because what he is going through is very unfortunate. And after his rehab with his arm and how well he's been doing, it's got to be extremely frustrating. But you know, things happen in life. They happen for a reason. We'll get him back, and he'll be a big help to us.
He was very positive, which is his demeanor. How much different was he today than when you saw him at the hospital?
No, you know, he was a little bit different. The day I saw him in his hospital was right after it happened, and he had surgery that night and probably didn't get a lot of sleep. I was there at 7:30 in the morning, and you know, I mean, so he was down at that time. But I think, you know, it's starting to heal. He's seeing it starting to heal, and it's probably a much better feeling than the first day it happened.
Well, here's Jose Bautista. This is power on power matchup, and CeCe's won this one so far this game. A grounder to second and a strikeout.
You know, Joe 0-2 real quickly, but Curtis Granderson a late scratch.
Yeah, his elbow was a little bit sore today, so you know, we're going to be you know, approach this with some caution like we have with the other guys, and see how he is tomorrow, and we'll go from there. But hopefully it's not long. We'll get him right back in there.
Well, Bautista, Sabathia missing away, 1 and 2.
That change up flash?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one you want. You want the one down like that. So it's amazing how hard Bautista swings and how disciplined he is at the plate. He doesn't chase a lot of pitches.
We were talking earlier, over 130 walks last year.
Yeah, well, the way he swings the bat, there's times where you're going to pitch around him a little bit.
You know, overall health-wise, how are you feeling? I mean, Granderson might be a scratch today. Swisher, you're getting optimistic about, but you know, at least Derek's back. Alex, no lingering effect of the ribs.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, I feel that we're still a little bit nicked up, but Swisher's going to play in a minor league game tomorrow and just basically DH.
Sabathia, comebacker, and that'll do it. Joe, thanks for being with us. Always good to chat with you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night. We're headed to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Yanks trailing 3-0 to the Jays.
They're back, refreshed and ready to go. And MLB Network's 30 Clubs in 30 Days is back with exclusive access to every team's training camp. 30 Clubs in 30 Days. Next stop, Washington Nationals. Tuesday, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on MLB Network.
Yes, I can. Doubt better leave. I'm running with this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the bucket, can't have me. I'll be the president.
Landed on the surface of the moon.
Oh, you like that gossip? Like you the one drinking what God said. I got a word for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want? Yeah, I got a brand new spirit speaking and it's done. Woke up on the side of the bed like I won. Talk like the wind in my chest to that sun. G5 did it west to Taiwan. Now who can say that? I want to play back. I got a feeling it's a rap. ASAP.
It's our weekend. Should we spend it wandering in some home improvement warehouse? No. Say we go to Ace. Yeah. Get help when we walk in the door. Because we will maintain our homes and our weekend. Yeah.
Your in-store wingman helps get your weekend back at Ace.
The next generation of Lexus cannot be contained. The all-new 2013 Lexus GS. There's no going back. See your Lexus dealer.
I was born and raised in Chicagoland area. My roots are still here. I grew up the son of teachers. Teaching and learning never stops. Education is always around us in any form. It's amazing the constant things that I can pick up about my swing that I didn't know yesterday, that I didn't know a couple weeks ago. I'm a student of the game, I'm a student of life, and I'll never stop learning at both.
MLB Network. Spring training games all this month. Well, follow the New York Yankees with MLB.com at Bat 12 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows Phone 7, or BlackBerry. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details. You see David Robertson up in the pen, loosening up, getting ready to go. And this is Justin Maxwell at the plate. Kyle Drabek. I knew I'd do that once. Knew I'd do it once. Kyle Drabek out for his 5th inning of work.
Well, Joe Girardi did that to you, talking about his old man.
3-0 on the Audi scoreboard. Scored 3 against CC Sabathia tonight.
Looking back to that 4th inning for Drabek, I think it's got to be a huge confidence booster. That 5th spot up for grabs now. 1st and 2nd, nobody out, was able to work his way out of trouble.
And Maxwell to 3rd. Lowry has it, 1 away.
Joe Girardi brought up a good point with Drabek. You know, you get traded for Roy Halladay, all these expectations, and every scout who has ever seen Drabek said this guy's a can't miss. You know, he's got it all. He's got the makeup, the stuff. Well, he went through a year last year that you wouldn't wish on anybody. You know, maybe learn from that experience and come back and have a big 2012. It looks pretty good tonight.
And you know, who wouldn't want to join a new team and impress, have an impact right out of the gate, be a contributor? And when the opposite happens, I imagine it has a snowball effect the other way, hurting your confidence.
Well, what do you hear all the time, Bob? You know, don't try to do too much. And it's the easiest thing to tell somebody. But when you're a young kid, I can't even imagine being traded for a player like Halladay. I'm sure you put this incredible pressure. I have to live up to that trade. That's not an easy thing to do.
Derek Jeter is singled and struck out. So you think maybe as we look at his young career resume, the fact that he was such a blue chip prospect and he was traded for what a guy that became an icon in Toronto could have certainly had something to do with it had he not been traded for, let's say, a lesser player. Lowry over the 1st, showing off the gun, 2 away.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that, Bob. I mean, just imagine going to Toronto as the player who was traded for Roy Halladay as a young kid. You know, you're not talking about an established veteran traded for Halladay. You're talking about a kid with potential. Probably put too much pressure on himself. He went down to the minor leagues and the numbers didn't get any better. I mean, you just throw the season out and get back to work in 2012.
Well, that's the big thing for the Jays this year. Can the pitching, the starting pitching, match the hitting? And we'll get into some of their relievers here coming up when Drabek leaves the game, but they've added some veterans. Sergio Santos, Francisco Cordero, Darren Oliver. You can really change the fate of that bullpen. They had 25 blown saves last year. That tied for the worst in the American League.
It changes the mentality of a club, Bob, you know, where you have a lead after 5-6 innings and you feel good about that lead being solidified. I mean, there's nothing more demoralizing to a team and a young team when you lose games late because of the bullpen. You see the projected bullpen for 2012.
And some other guys that have serious stuff on their resume. Jason Frazier, Casey Janssen. Teixeira doubled in his last at bat, the 3rd. And you think about just in terms of a Ricky Romero out there, he might not have to think, you know what, I don't know what the bullpen's going to do, so I'm going to have to go 7 or 8 today. Doesn't mean he takes his foot off the gas, but at least he has that confidence to say, you know what, my guys will take care of it. They'll get it done.
Yeah, and again, we talked about a young team and, you know, having some success early. The same thing with a bullpen. You know, if you can instill that confidence in your club, hey, after 6, this game's over, it goes a long way.
Mark Teixeira swings at a high pitch and knocks it into the night sky, very high. And finally, Johnson will haul it in. So that will do it. A 1-2-3 inning for Drabek as we're through 5 and the Yankees trail it 3-0.
Welcome to this Chevrolet Studio Update. I'm Sam Ryan. Matt Lato, seen here in file video, left Tuesday's game against the Cubs in the 5th inning after taking a bad step on a pitch. The Reds' right-hander was later diagnosed with a strained left calf. He's listed as day-to-day. Now, the injury comes just a few days after the Reds lost Ryan Matson for the season. Following the game, we'll bring you the Nationals edition of 30 Clubs in 30 Days. Then it's more spring training baseball featuring the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, and later the Braves and the Mets. And coming up at 9 a.m. Eastern Wednesday morning, the regular season gets underway with the Mariners taking on the Athletics from Tokyo. Felix Hernandez and Brandon McCarthy will be your starting pitchers. That's your Chevrolet Studio Update. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Thanks for picking us up, sweetie. I'll give you money for gas.
It's not necessary.
Take the money.
I'm not taking your money. Besides, I get great gas mileage.
What's that?
E-Assist. Yeah, it helps the engine run really efficiently. It captures energy that assists the engine, so I'm never guzzling gas.
Ooh, that's hippie talk.
It's called technology, Dad.
Take $2.
Take the money.
The all-new 37 mpg highway Chevy Malibu Eco. From conserving fuel to the technology that makes it happen. Chevy runs deep.
With Pizza Hut's Wing Wednesdays, all you need's a handful of quarters to turn boring Wednesdays into 50-cent Wing Wednesdays. Every wing, every flavor, every Wednesday, only 50 cents each, and only at your Pizza Hut.
This one's for all us lawnsmiths, grass gurus, doers. Here's to more Saturdays in the sun and budgets better spent. Here's to turning rookies into experts and shoppers into savers. Here's to picking up, trading up, mixing it up. To well-earned muddy boots and a lot more spring per dollar. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Break out the gardening gloves. Miracle Grow garden soil is now 3 bags for $10.
Top of the 6th in Tampa with the Blue Jays leading the Yankees 3-0. CC Sabathia, Edwin Encarnacion, and missing ball 1.
Well, we mentioned in the Volkswagen pitcher scouting report, John Farrell looking for a little composure from Drabek tonight. I think he saw it, Bob. Has to be very impressed with the 5 innings, giving him a little pep talk.
And then when Encarnacion does not offer at that, 2-0. Blue Jays tonight with 6 hits and 3 runs off CC. And CC just missing away, 3-0. 82 pitches. You mentioned 85, maybe 90.
Well, he threw 65 his last time in a minor league game. 55 strikes, 27 balls. Probably has to fight through a little fatigue here in the 6th.
Pitching coach Larry Rothschild keeping a close eye on CC as Encarnacion lifts one out into right field. Andrew Jones, 1 away. Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. 1 away in the top of the 6th. Eric Thames, the batter. He'll be the left fielder this season for the Jays. They hope all season. He impressed in the second half last year when Travis Snyder faltered. And in fact, Snyder was having a pretty good spring this year. 17 runs batted in 19 games. But they optioned him down to AAA. They thought based on the body of work that he had last year versus Thames that they'd give Eric Thames the shot at starting in left field.
Kind of waiting for Snyder to come up to the big leagues and burst onto the scene. A young kid who's got a good swing from the left side. Thames did it last year. They're going to give him an opportunity, and really hanging in there against CC tonight. Has nothing to show for it, but looks pretty comfortable. Left on left.
Grounder to second and a line out to left field. I have my numbers slightly off on Snyder. 16 runs batted in 17 games, but 4 home runs. They just want him to get at bats. I mean, he's not going to get him up here on a regular basis.
And that is a tough way to get sent down. Obviously, if you struggle in spring training, you get sent out, you understand it. But when you put up numbers like that and you get sent down to AAA, tough to keep your head up and grind.
The breaking ball fouled away into the seats. Remains 0-2.
Probably the worst slider we have seen from CC Sabathia right there. 0-2, kind of spun middle of the plate. And like I mentioned, that pitch count at 88. You know, starters have to fight through some fatigue when they are in the uncharted territory here with the pitch count.
And a little check to third base. Alex Rodriguez has it. 2 away. So what'd you think about that pitch? Nice location, and all things could do was just try and fight it off.
Well, he threw the slider the pitch before that was not very good, as Larry Rothschild's still watching. And here he comes back with another, what looked like a fastball, maybe up and in. Strange that Russell Martin was sitting middle of the plate. It might have been a hard changeup that kind of ran up and in. But I'm more interested to watch this at bat. Lowry has hit 2 balls hard to right center field. How does CC combat that?
Triple and a ground rule double. He scored a run. That was the 3rd run of the game for the Jays back in the 4th.
And you remember the Yankees saw a little bit of this third baseman last year, but they're getting a better look tonight. 593. Everybody trying to figure out how can we pitch him. Can we go in on the hands? We'll find out here. Drop the slider in for a strike. 0-2, 2 outs, Bob. I'd like to see a fastball in off the plate just to see how Lowry reacts. And you kind of put it in the mental Rolodex for the season. Is this a place we can go with 2 strikes?
That's where Martin set up. And CC tried to get it in there, and Derek Jeter robbing Lowry of a bid for a 3rd hit. This little piece of backhand work there at short for Derek Jeter, and CC with a 1-2-3, top of the 6th. Once again, Sabathia getting it done with a little help from his friend at short.
MLB Network is starting the new season right with 30 live games.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
From all 30 clubs.
That was worth the price of admission alone.
In 30 days.
Incredible. Did that just happen?
And that's just the beginning, because MLB Network has games 4 nights a week all season long. It all begins Thursday, April 5th with Dodgers Padres live on MLB Network.
Now listen to me. I've seen you grow as players and grow as a team. And no matter what happens out there, you will walk out of this locker room better than when you walked in. Win or lose, you are all champions.
These have always been the rooms where teams are built, and Sports Authority will always supply just the right tools. Because we have everything for every team with unbeatable values. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
Any technology not moving forward is moving backward. Introducing the Lexus Enform App Suite. Available now on the all-new 2013 Lexus GS. There's no going back. See your Lexus dealer.
You plant, you mow, you grow, you dream. Meet the new definition of durability. The John Deere Select Series. With endless possibilities, what will you create? The new Select Series X310 with power steering is here. Drive one today at your John Deere dealer.
30 clubs in 30 days every night through April 3rd on MLB Network.
Yankees trailing 3-0 as we head to their half of the 6th inning here at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Robinson Cano will lead things off. Against Casey Jansen. Kyle Drabek, 5 solid innings of work. And now the veteran Jansen takes the hill. Jansen last season appearing in 55 games, a perfect 6-0 record, 2.26 ERA. About a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Very good. He gets a little grounder from Cano and tosses it over to first, 1 away. And let's take a look at the Mazda upcoming schedule. Yankees getting very busy here to wrap up spring training. They've got a game against the Braves tomorrow, and then they'll be back here for 2 at Steinbrenner Field. We'll have both those games for you Thursday and Friday against Baltimore and Philadelphia, both of those evening games. Saturday it's against Houston. Then Sunday, Monday, they're off to Miami to christen the new Marlins ballpark. Afternoon games Sunday at 1 o'clock. Hope you'll join us. And then you see 5 more games after that. The 2 against the Mets wrapping things up. And then regular season, it all begins April 6th with 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays. There's Alex Rodriguez, struck out, and a double.
Jansen with those good numbers out of the bullpen last year, a 2.26 ERA, a guy who has started earlier in his career and battled some shoulder problems, has made a nice transition to the bullpen. Now watch him deliver the ball, Bob. He gets so much out of his lower body. Great leg drive off his back leg. He gets the most out of himself physically.
And in his setup, first of all, surprising for a reliever that he goes from a windup, but also
good drive off the back leg. You see that back knee hitting the dirt.
He's constantly moving on the mound as well, like he's restless. Good pitch inside. Alex swings and misses 2-2.
You know, and he has a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. It always seems to play up a little bit. Hitter's constantly behind the velocity of the fastball when it's only 91. Could be a little deception in his delivery. Tough to pick the baseball up.
Now you're talking about that knee hitting the dirt. You're talking about stride towards the plate. Could you draw similarity between what he and David Robertson do?
No doubt about it. You know, it just with Jansen, it looks so pronounced to me when he drives off his back leg. You know, David Robertson, more to me, it looks like he jumps towards the hitter with that big front stride.
Alex to second. And 2 away.
Jansen is going to be a nice bridge to the back end of the bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays. Again, we'll get a look at that back leg and how he really sits and drives down towards the dirt on the mound, really gets the most out of his lower half. And I'm sure a reason for that, Bob, when you go through shoulder problems as a pitcher, you know, you're going to find a way to take a little stress off your arm, and you do that by using your lower half.
Misses up and away to Raul Ibanez. Ibanez struck out swinging in the second and walked in the fourth. Speaking of David Robertson, looks like he'll be the next pitcher of record for the Yankees. Jansen missing in 2-1.
Well, Ibanez's bat's a little bit longer now. First at bat, 3 pitches. Looks like he's tracking the ball a little bit better as this game is going on. Walked his last at bat.
And takes a pitch low, 3-1.
And a pretty good take right there, Bob. You know, the first at bat, it looked like he wasn't picking up the ball at all. That a little two-seam fastball that just missed. Roll, a pretty good take.
And a swing and a miss, 3-2. And a swing and a miss again. So for the second time in this game, Ibanez goes down swinging in a 1-2-3 inning for the reliever, Casey Jansen. David Robertson coming up next as we head to the 7th.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Ryan with this Reebok Real Flex update. Earlier today, the Red Sox against the Rays, and Josh Beckett continued his phenomenal spring. 5 more shutout innings with just 1 hit allowed and 5 strikeouts. And Cody Ross provided the offense big time, going deep off Joel Peralta in the 2nd inning. The 3-run home run, scoring Kevin Youkilis and David Ortiz. Red Sox will go on to win the game 8-0. Immediately following the game, it's the Washington Nationals edition of 30 Clubs in 30 Days. Then tomorrow morning at 9 Eastern, the regular season begins with the Mariners facing the A's. You can see all the action from the Tokyo Dome. Felix Hernandez and Brandon McCarthy are your starting pitchers. That's it for this Reebok Real Flex update. Enjoy the rest of the game.
3, 2, 1, go!
Welcome to the Perfect Club. Here, we accept perfection and nothing else. Can you throw a perfect game in MLB 2K12? Win the $1 Million Perfect Game Challenge and get inside? I hope so. Hey, Brian.
Hey there, beautiful.
Mr. Johnson, any words of wisdom?
Here for the lobster.
Randy? Justin Verlander. Again?
Kate, come on. Please, let me in. Cy Young, MVP. Hi.
Master the best pitching controls around and throw the most perfect game in MLB 2K12. You could win $1 million and all that comes with it. Go to facebook.com/MLB2K for details.
2 no-hitters.
Rated E for everyone.
Come on.
Well, tomorrow night, the Nets host the Pacers before heading out west for a 4-game road trip. Coverage starts with the Nets pregame at 7 o'clock, and then Ian Eagle and Jim Spanarkel have all the action from Newark, only on Yes. And we're on to the top of the 7th here in Tampa with the Blue Jays up 3-0. David Robertson on in relief of CC Sabathia. Of course, the season he had last year, absolutely terrific. Became solid in that 8th inning, locking things down. Joe Girardi expecting the same from him this season. On the Ford scoreboard, Blue Jays got to CC Sabathia for 3 runs on 6 hits. And the Yankees only managed 5 hits, no runs against Kyle Drabek. Defensively, Bill Hall has moved to second base in place of Robinson Cano for the Yankees. And this is the new catcher, Jeff Mathis. He'll be the backup this season, taking over for JP Arancibia.
You see the numbers last year with the Angels. He's not known as an offensive threat, but a very solid catch and throw guy. Will be a nice backup in Toronto.
And skies one behind the plate. Russell Martin will take a look, and that'll be onto the screen about 30 feet up.
Bob, good to see David Robertson in this ball game, his second appearance of the swing. But you know, CC Sabathia got out of tonight's outing exactly what he wanted to. The pitch count elevated to the point where he was a little fatigued in that 6th inning, and he fought through it. Like we said in the scouting report, there have been no issues and no questions for CC Sabathia, and that remains the same after his outing tonight.
2-1 pitch, just missing outside.
92 pitches for CC Sabathia, just what the doctor ordered.
And the 3-1, good hard pitch right across the middle of the plate. Mathis can't catch up to it. The count goes full.
We saw David his last outing, his only outing of spring training, looked a little rusty. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of the same tonight before he feels comfortable with his mechanics and finds that groove.
And misses there, so a leadoff walk by Mathis. Robertson working on the 7, 8, 9 hitters in the lineup. Again, Mathis, a pinch hitter for Arancibia. He'll stay in the game at catcher, and this is Colby Rasmus, batting 8th tonight. Singled and knocked in a run back in the 4th. And Robertson misses again, 1-0. And lined into center field. That's Gardner on the move. And checks Mathis back to first, 1 away. Yan Gomes will be the batter. Doubled and scored back in the 3rd. Struck out swinging against CC in the 4th. Pretty gaudy numbers, as you mentioned, this spring. 440, 8 runs batted in.
When you see number 68 on the back of his jersey, you're not expecting those type of numbers from Gomes, but he has opened up a lot of eyes this spring training. Watching David Robertson, Bob, I'm wondering how many innings it's going to take him to really get comfortable. Is it going to be 6 or 7? Good fastball there. Is he going to go into the season maybe not 100% feeling like he's locked in? It might take a little time in April. Good news for the Yankees. They still have some time before opening day to get him a few more opportunities to work at it.
Well, he's behind 2-1 to Gomes. Fouled away, 2-2.
Yeah, that's what makes David Robertson so good right there. You can be behind in the count and still challenge hitters with your fastball. Although the velocity isn't overpowering tonight, the upper 80s for Robertson, there's still enough life able to sneak it by some hitters.
See what he does here on 2-2. Another fastball fouled away. What's the next step for Robertson this year, who was so good last year? I mean, maybe just cutting down on some of the walks, maybe a little more of an economy of pitches. I'm not sure. But he could be much better than what he was last year.
It's hard to say there's something he can improve on.
Ball getting away from Russell Martin in the dirt. Mathis will move to second.
Tough pitch to block right there for Russell Martin, and Mathis, being a catcher at first base, knows how hard it is to block a baseball and still deliver a throw to second. Gets a good jump, but getting back to Robertson, I don't know how much better you can get. Goes with the curveball here and spikes it in the dirt. Tough play for Russell Martin. I think if you're Joe Girardi, Brian Cashman, the whole Yankee organization, you hope that he can do what he did last year. It was such a magical season, graduating into that 8th inning role. If he can do that consistently year in and year out, you have a very special pitcher.
Well, you see what he did in 2011. First in ERA and strikeouts amongst American League relievers. Second in strikeouts per 9 innings. And a strike. Nice pitch right there on 3-2, and he gets Gomes.
Yeah, not quite sure what Gomes is looking for. Maybe sitting on the curveball since he saw it the pitch before, but Robertson comes back with a fastball right at the knees and gets a call.
So maybe the answer to my question is as simple as, given his injury this spring, just get back to being who he was last year when the regular season begins.
Yeah, just get healthy. Get healthy and get ready for the beginning of the season. But, it's always a concern, Bob, when a young pitcher, and I still consider David a young pitcher, has a breakout year like he had last year. I mean, is it fair to expect him to do the same or even better? I mean, it's a tough year to replicate. He was so good.
This is Luis Valbuena pinch hitting for Kelly Johnson. Lifts one out to left field. And Justin Maxwell has it, so that'll do it. A leadoff walk and nothing else for David Robertson. Good work here on the top of the 7th inning stretch. 3-zip Toronto.
Spring training games are brought to you by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball, and proud to support baseball in communities across the country.
This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound.
You feel that?
No.
The e-assist is working right now.
That's Spandau Ballet, man.
You did this all the way to the restaurant.
Yeah, we were going uphill, getting extra horsepower from a battery-powered generator. It's helping us conserve fuel. This is important.
The all-new 37 MPG Highway Chevy Malibu Eco. From new technology to old friends, Chevy runs deep.
Greetings from the windy city of Chicago. People here sure are friendly, but some have had a hard time understanding my accent. So, to make sure people get every word of the Geico savings message, I've been practicing how to talk like a true Chicagoan.
Switching to Geico could save you hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Ah, Bears.
You people sure do talk funny.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Even though we've been to 6 Final Fours, I never feel comfortable in March. You don't sleep. You worry about everything. You realize just one wrong play, and it's win or go home. The thought that a school of 3,000 can beat one of 60,000, the David and Goliath matchups. And even though I'm nervous, March to me is the greatest month of the year. I love March. My name is Tom Izzo, and I'm definitely comfortable in my own skin.
It's our weekend. Should we spend it wandering in some home improvement warehouse? No. Say we go to Ace. Yeah. Get help when we walk in the door. Because we will maintain our homes and our weekend. Yeah.
Your in-store wingman helps get your weekend back at Ace.
Hey, Yankees fans, individual game tickets for the 2012 season at Yankee Stadium are now on sale at Yankees.com and through Ticketmaster. Get your tickets today to see the Yankees take on the rest of the American League, as well as some great interleague matchups. And you don't want to miss the 66th annual Old Timers Day, Sunday, July 1st. To purchase tickets, visit Yankees.com or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Russell Martin leading things off here in the bottom of the 7th. 3-0 Jays on the Ford scoreboard. Yanks would like to get something going offensively. 5 hits coming against Kyle Drabek. Not able to score a run, though. Weren't able to do anything against Casey Jansen in the last inning. And this is Francisco Cordero. Last season with the Reds. Of course, he was their closer. And was able to convert 37 of 43 save opportunities. Now the story with him is the Jays were able to trade for Sergio Santos with the White Sox, installed him as their closer, and in the lean market at the tail end of the offseason for relievers, the Reds signing Ryan Madson and a base hit to lead things off for Martin. So Cordero found himself looking for work, and he settled for a 1-year deal for $4.5 million to be a setup guy in Toronto.
And the Blue Jays will take it. I mean, they have a very formidable back end of the rotation, and Cordero had a pretty good run in Cincinnati the last 4 years. 34 saves, 39 saves, 40 saves, and you mentioned the 37 last year. But he's going to be primarily a setup man for John Farrell and his bullpen.
And you talk about the twist of fate for the Cincinnati Reds. They signed Madsen, thought they got a great deal on a 1-year deal for him, and he ends up needing Tommy John surgery. That announced just several days ago. So now they are scrambling for a closer, and Cordero is in Toronto. Well, here's Andrew Jones, a single back in the 2nd. He struck out swinging in the 4th. By the way, Cordero coming to Toronto and signing with him, saying he has no problem being a setup guy for Sergio Santos. Fooling Jones there, 0-2. Pinch runner for Martin at first. That's Chris Dickerson. And a swing and a miss, and Jones goes down for the 2nd time this game.
Andrew Jones had a tough time with that at bat. It looked like a couple of sliders that were up and in. See Mathis setting up away, and they end up in middle. Completely fools Andrew Jones. See, he has a little 2-part swing.
Almost looked like it short-armed him on the swing.
You know, there are times, Bob, where you see a pitch out of a pitcher's hands and you recognize the spin, and it just doesn't spin to the place you think it's going to. It backs up, completely fools a hitter.
Dickerson on the move at first, got a great jump on Mathis, and he is in easily with a stolen base. My goodness, it was as if Cordero wasn't even paying attention to him. He got a great break. He was in there easily.
Yeah, Mathis really can throw the baseball to second base, one of the best in the American League, but Chris Dickerson gets such a good jump that this play is not even close. Actually, Mathis makes it a lot closer than it should be. Strong, accurate throw right on the bag. Dickerson in scoring position.
This a third opportunity in the game for Gardner to not get runners in scoring position. Almost did back in the second, but Russell Martin was thrown out at the plate. Then he came up with 2 aboard back in the fourth and flew out to center field. Gardner got to do a little dancing to get out of the way of that one. 2-1.
Cordero with a pretty good fastball inside after he dropped a changeup on Brett Gardner, able to move his feet, get out of the way. The last thing you want to get is a fastball off the ankle if you're Brett Gardner and your game is about speed.
When you talk about a pitcher moving somebody's feet, that's moving feet right there.
That's a definition right there.
Drops a breaking ball in and misses. 3-1. Well, let's get downstairs now as we watch Brett Gardner hit. Jack Curry standing by with CC Sabathia. Jack.
Thanks very much, Bob. Now, CC, 6 innings tonight. You get that pitch count up there. What did you like about your start?
You know, we did get the pitch count up there. You know, I got to be better with 2 strikes and, you know, throw the 2-seamer a little better. But, you know, I felt pretty good today.
You've talked about wanting to have consistency in your delivery, command of your fastball, and know that you can throw those secondary pitches for strikes. Where do you stand in those elements of your game?
I'm getting there. I mean, you know, I feel really good. My delivery felt good tonight. Like I said, I would just like to be a little better with the secondary pitches with 2 strikes. So that's something that I'll work on in the bullpen, and, you know, one more start out, and then I'll be ready to go.
You mentioned one more start. You're 10 days away from the season opener. Are you feeling it already? Are you starting to circle April 6th in your head already?
Yeah, you know, it's a few days away. Still got some work to do, but yeah, definitely. You know, you start to get antsy, you start getting ready to go, and you know, I'll be ready to go come the 6th.
When you talk about wanting to pitch better and get better pitches with 2 strikes, is that repetition? Is that smarter decisions? Is that mixing things up? How do you go about doing that?
I think it's all of it. You know, making better pitches, you know, having better pitch sequences, and you know, just getting back into the mode of knowing I need to make a strike, make a pitch with 2 strikes.
CC, thank you very much. Bob, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Jack, thanks. So CC really looking forward to getting the regular season underway. That, of course, begins April 6th in a game you can see here on Yes against the Tampa Bay Rays. Brett Gardner gets one under the mitt of Escobar. And Dickerson will round and score. Gardner holding it first. Yankees on the board. It's 3-1.
Brett Gardner having a pretty good night. Couple of hits right back up the middle, both of them. First one was an RBI opportunity that Rasmus had a strong throw to get Russell Martin at the plate. Here, just slapping a fastball inside and out, right back up the middle. And Rajat Davis, pretty strong throw, but he's going to get Dickerson. Yankees on the board.
So 3-1 on Gardner's second single of the night. And that brings up Justin Maxwell. Having a nice spring, 0 for 2 tonight, but batting .387. He's knocked in 7 runs. And Gardner on the move, first pitch. Mathis down to second, and he's safe.
You know, it's so hard as a catcher when you don't have any chance to throw a runner out with Cordero being slow to the plate. Mathis has made 2 really strong throws in this inning and has nothing to show for it. You watch him mechanically, a slider up and in, a good throw right on the bag. Gardner just beats it with a good jump.
And a grounder to third. Lowry checks the runner on to first. And 2 away. Now, how important is it, and Gardner has to gauge every pitcher out there and know who the catcher is as well, that even in a spring game, you want to take that into the season in terms of the confidence to run and run early in a count.
Well, we saw that the second half of the year with Brett, and you know, like you're saying, I think you want to do it right from opening day if you can have that mindset. And Brett admitted last year it was a little tentative at the beginning of the year stealing bases. We got a great jump right there, and you look forward to him maybe the last 10 days of spring training to be more aggressive on the base paths.
Gardner on second, 2 away here in the bottom of the 7th, and Derek Jeter takes a ball from Francisco Cordero.
You know, just thinking back to our Jack Curry talking to CC there, a nice luxury where you don't have to worry about that guy. You know, got my pitch count where I wanted it. know what I have to work on the rest of the way. Feel confident with my mechanics.
And a breaking ball fouled away. And listen, Joe Girardi's got enough tough decisions with that starting five, right? I mean, he knows Andy Pettit's coming back probably sometime in May, but Phil Hughes pitched very well in a minor league game yesterday. Freddie Garcia a couple days ago looked terrific. And you pick Nova. Do you pick, you know, it's some tough decisions.
Tough decisions. Phil Hughes has really answered the call this spring training. You know, I guess the tough decisions come down. You know, you watch Kuroda pitch, and he's new to the organization. You want to get a feel for him. Pineda, the same thing. He's kind of been up and down. Nova started off slow, picking it up a little bit lately. But if you're Joe Girardi and Tony Pena, the bench coach, you don't even worry about CC Sabathia. Just get him through spring training healthy.
And Jeter fouling one away again, 1-2. We haven't seen overpowering stuff from Cordero so far. Coming into this game, he'd given up 4 runs in 7 innings this spring. And Jeter the chopper to third. Lowry on to first, and that'll do it. Yankees do get one, though, to make it a 3-1 game as we head to the top half of the 8th inning here in Tampa.
It's over! Prohibition is over!
I will throw more complete games. I will make it hail in the bleachers. I will let beast mode off his leash. I will shatter records. Beast mode never sleeps. I will make my glove golden. I'll throw 107. I will lead the league in triples. Yeah, you will.
Doblaré mi número de doble jugar.
I will take away center field. I will be Mr. Everything.
Dish claims they offer the same channels for less. But what Dish doesn't tell you is that if you're one of the millions who love AMC, BET, Bravo, or MSNBC, you won't get them with Dish Network's Top 120 package. In fact, you won't get any of these 48 channels. With DirecTV's Choice package, you get all those channels plus every other top-rated channel, too. More channels you love. Another reason 30 million people agree. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV.
Nice morning, Scott.
Hi. At a morning of tiny voices crying out, feed us. We've awakened from a long winter's nap and we're peckish to the point of starving.
I don't understand.
Your grass, man. It's a living, breathing thing. It's hungry, and you've got to feed it with Scott's Turf Builder. Attaboy, Mikey. 2 feedings now in the springtime. Strengthens and helps protect your lawn from future problems. Get Scott's Turf Builder lawn food. It's guaranteed. Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Well, next Friday afternoon, the quest for 28 begins in Tampa when the Yankees kick off the 2012 season against the division rival Rays. Join the S Network team for complete coverage of all the opening day pageantry, including the lineups and first pitch from Tropicana Field. The 2012 regular season starts next Friday at 2 o'clock right here on Yes. And another man out of the pen for the Yankees following David Robertson. It is Cesar Cabral, the left-hander, bidding for a spot in the bullpen. First pitch swinging by Yunel Escobar. And Bill Hall on at first and one away. That's Jorge Vasquez over at first for Mark Teixeira.
See the numbers for Cabral last year in Double-A, and pretty respectable. Only 16 walks, 38 in the third. Maybe that's not so great. 46 strikeouts, but a Rule 5 guy, so a little pressure to try to keep him on the big league roster if you're the Yankees.
And Jose Bautista One pitch, another out, 2 away. Cabral impressive so far.
He's opened up some eyes in spring training, has enough on the fastball, a nice little slider there to Bautista.
Originally signed by the Red Sox, 6 seasons in their organization. He was in the Royals organization for this winter. He was plucked out of the Rule 5 draft. They paid $50,000 for his rights. They have to offer him back if they don't keep him on the major league roster at $25,000. So it is a risk, but it could be a big reward if you're able to put a second lefty in the bullpen.
Obviously feels good about his slider, dropping it in there for strike 1. 3 pitches in this inning, 3 strikes. That 4.
Some other defensive changes. Gustavo Molina behind the plate. Dwayne Wise in center. Mentioned Vasquez at first. Chris Dickerson has moved over to right field. And well struck ball out to left field, and that is Justin Maxwell retreating. Gloved it and then dropped it. And Edwin Encarnacion will pull into second base.
We'll take a look at Maxwell. It looks like it handcuffs him a little bit. He falls back into the fence. Looks like he's going to be all right. Going to call that an error on Maxwell.
Well, the ball got on him so quickly, you wonder if that had an impact. He had to run to a spot, then all of a sudden the ball was a little behind him.
Yeah, we saw he was playing a shallow left field, but Cabral, you got to question the pitch selection a little bit. 3 sliders in a row to Encarnacion, and the third one just spun in the middle of the plate, and he paid the price for it.
And that pitch up and out of the zone. 1-0 to Eric Thames.
It's one thing that young kids learn when you get to the big leagues. You have to mix it up. You got to show your fastball a little bit. Make that breaking ball a little more effective.
And that was, as it evens the count at 1-1. Fastball missing away, 3-1.
There you go. He missed with the fastball, but at least he threw it. It's 91 miles an hour. You got to show that to a major league hitter to get him off of your off-speed pitch. Like he was going to have a pretty easy 1-2-3 inning. Now he's pitching with a runner in scoring position.
And a strike. Gets one across against Thames there. 3-2. Other defensive changes for the Yankees. Jason Nix taking over at third base for Alex Rodriguez. And Eduardo Nunez is now at short in place of Derek Jeter. Payoff pitch from Cabral. And hard hit and foul. Take one more look at the vastly different defense now for the Yankees here in the top of the 8th. Maxwell in left, Dwayne Wise in center. Chris Dickerson has moved over to right field. Nix, Nunez, Hall, and Vasquez around the infield with Gustavo Molina behind the plate. And Cesar Cabral trying to get out of it here with a man on second. 3-2 pitch to Eric Thames. And misses away, ball 4.
Well, Larry Rothschild, pitching coach, looking on. Joe Girardi, like I said, I thought it was going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning for the young lefty. Double and a walk.
And this might be good news for Cabral because the batter is not Brett Lowry, who has hit the ball hard tonight. The third baseman out of the game now in favor of Jonathan Diaz. But Cabral misses up, 1-0.
Well, these are things that the Yankees have to see from this left-hander coming out of the pen. Can he throw strikes? Can he throw strikes with his breaking ball when he needs to?
And he did there, 1-1.
It's a pretty good pitch, and it's a nice combination. The fastball has enough velocity, just a little bit over 90 miles an hour. Looks like he has a pretty good feel for the slider that he can throw for a strike.
Seems to be keeping pitches up in the zone, however. And that one further down and chopped foul.
Well, this will be an interesting pitch selection coming up here. 1 and 2. And he's shown here in the 8th inning he loves to go to that slider. I'm just thinking like an old catcher, Bob. If you can show the fastball somewhere at 91, 92, might be able to get away with that slider on the next pitch. Looks like he's going to come back with the slider again.
And knocked into right field. Dickerson has it and has problems with it, and that will allow the lead runner to score. Encarnacion is in, and more troubles in the field as Eric Thames was thinking about scoring. He'll stay at third, but it's a 4-1 Blue Jays lead.
And again from Cabral, it's just back-to-back-to-back sliders, and you show any hitter 3 pitches the same speed with the same break, you're going to have a little bit better swings. And Dickerson boots it in right field and then overruns it. And with Davis at first base and with his speed, he's coming around second, getting all the way to third. Brian Butterfield telling him to hold up, but with his speed, he's thinking about trying to sneak into home plate. The Yankees prevent that.
Thank you for correcting me. That's Rajat Davis at third base. So first and third, 2 away. Jeff Mathis is the hitter. Mathis walked in the 7th in his first plate appearance. And Cabral misses up, 1-0.
Yeah, Cabral's going to leave this outing, Bob, thinking, how did this happen? I mean, I threw 2 pitches and I had 2 quick outs. The next thing you know, 3 sliders in a row. The third one gets hit for a double, then a walk, then a base hit. Still trying to pitch his way out of trouble.
And more trouble there as he misses in 2-0. Cabral in with a strike, 2-1.
Well, I'm sure it's not the last time those 2 men are going to have a conversation about pitchers out of their bullpen. Still a decision or 2 to be made. A look of disappointment on Joe Girardi's face.
And a ground ball to second. Hall flips over to Nunez, and that will do it, but not before the Blue Jays add another against Cesar Cabral. It was easy out of the gate, but they tack on another. 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th.
They're back, refreshed and ready to go. And MLB Network's 30 Clubs in 30 Days is back with exclusive access to every team's training camp. 30 Clubs in 30 Days. Next stop, Washington Nationals. Coming up next on MLB Network.
Thanks for picking us up, sweetie. I'll give you money for gas.
It's not necessary.
Take the money.
I'm not taking your money. Besides, I get great gas mileage.
What's that?
E-Assist. Yeah, it helps the engine run really efficiently. It captures energy that assists the engine, so I'm never guzzling gas.
Ooh, that's hippie talk.
It's called technology, Dad.
Take $2.
Take the money.
The all-new 37 mpg highway Chevy Malibu Eco. From conserving fuel to the technology that makes it happen. Chevy runs deep.
You plant, you mow, you grow, you dream. Meet the new definition of durability, the John Deere Select Series. With endless possibilities, what will you create? The new Select Series X310 with power steering is here. Drive one today at your John Deere dealer.
A lot better than my old club. Good control, good flight.
That's great, eh?
Nice and high.
Turning right on it.
Right where I aimed it.
Well, that is smooth.
What more could he ask for? You can't.
Feels like I can hit it anywhere I want to. Wow. Good shot today. That's what you want in a golf club.
This offseason, the Buzz brought blockbuster deals and big surprises.
It will transform the Angels.
Relive an action-packed winter on Hot Stove Off-Season in Review, presented by Callaway, Saturday at 8 Eastern on MLB Network.
And we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning with the Yankees trailing 4-1 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Final meeting of 3 this spring between these ball clubs. And this is their closer, picked up from the White Sox, Sergio Santos. Had 30 saves and 36 opportunities for Chicago last year. He'll face the 2-3-4 hitters, Vasquez, Hall, and Nix. Vasquez taking over at first base for Mark Teixeira. Santos is allowed just a hit, no runs in 3 innings this spring. And again, upon their acquisition, they put him right into that closer spot. They'll try and keep things at 4-1. Vasquez swing and a miss.
Santos, a guy who spent 7 years in the minor leagues as an infielder and then converted to a pitcher, and then all of a sudden his career changed. Obviously, you mentioned the numbers with the White Sox last year, Bob. Now here in Toronto is going to be their closer.
And what's interesting is he was in the Blue Jays minor league system with some of the guys that are now at the big league club. Ricky Romero comes to mind, but he was a position player. They said that when he showed up for spring training this year, he drove to the camp in Dunedin and thought, wow, some things have changed, some things look very familiar, but I'm not going out to play with position players and hit. I'm going out to work with the pitchers. Oh, 2 to Vasquez, and Santos blows him away with 96 miles an hour.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Ryan with your Chevrolet in-game update. Royals Brewers earlier today. Bruce Chen on the mound for the Royals. He's been named their opening day starter in a big game for Eric Hosmer. A pair of home runs, 2 of Kansas City's 5 long balls on the day. The Royals go on to win this one 9-7. Now let's get you back out to the Blue Jays and the Yankees.
Second half of his career as a pitcher.
And gets a fastball. Hall takes it up and over to right. Shallow right along the first baseline, and that's the first baseman Woodward now in the game, Chris Woodward. And it goes into the stands. Oh, 1 pitch to Bill Hall. Up and misses, 1-1.
And all the hitters will go up to Kevin Long before they're at bats. You know, what's a scouting report? What's the game plan? And off of Santos, you can see right away, Kevin's going to say, bring that fastball down. He likes to ride it up in the zone. If you get a fastball down, you could take a pretty good swing. But as El Chato showed us, you can't catch up with that high ball.
That's a rule with you, right? Once in a game?
You know, Vasquez is such a good hitter. I got to drop the El Chato on him every once in a while. Put up big numbers in AAA, but to the point, it's tough to lay off that high fastball against Santos. You really have to be disciplined.
And inside and high, misses, 96, 3-1.
I've seen Billy Hall in his career. He has plenty of power when he can get a fastball down. Hit a home run this spring training on a fastball down. Had a nice finish with his top hand. We'll see if he gets one here. 3-1. Hunt it down in the zone and take a good pass.
He did exactly that, missed 3-2.
Well, if you're a closer at the big league level, you have to have the arm to do it, but also the mentality. As you watch Santos work this inning, I know it's just a spring training game. He comes right at the hitters, proud of that fastball.
And stays alive by fouling that one away. (3-2) to Bill Hall. And Santos drops a breaking ball in there and misses, so Hall's aboard with a 1-out walk.
Pretty good at bat from Bill Hall, fouling off some fastballs and taking a slider 3-2.
And Jason Nix will be the batter. Nix taking over at third base for Alex Rodriguez. Played 46 games with the Blue Jays last year. Average wasn't there, but he had 4 home runs, 16 runs batted in over that span. And driven out to the gap and out to right field. Slicing back towards the right fielder McCoy for out number 2. So Jason Nix, solid contact, but the second out of the inning. And this is Jeff Farnham moving into the DH spot of Raul Ibanez. And a hit out to left field, but right in the sights of Ricardo Nanita. So Farnham, one swing and he's done, and Santos a walk, and that's it here in the 8th. We take it to the 9th.
Welcome to the perfect club. Can you throw a perfect game in MLB 2K12? Win the $1 Million Perfect Game Challenge and get inside? I hope so. Mr. Johnson, any words of wisdom?
I'm here for the lobster.
Randy? Justin Verlander? Again?
Kate, come on. Please, let me in. Cy Young, MVP.
Throw the most perfect game in MLB 2K12 and you could win $1 million and all that comes with it.
2 no-hitters.
Rated E for everyone.
Come on.
The next generation of Lexus cannot be contained. The all-new 2013 Lexus GS. There's no going back. See your Lexus dealer.
MLB Tonight, every weeknight on MLB Network.
Single Christians, good news. ChristianMingle.com has more than 5 million registered members, almost 2 million new members in the past year alone. Joining is easy and free. Find God's match for you at ChristianMingle.com today.
Think you're stuck paying high auto insurance rates because of your driving record? Then now is the time to change the game. Just go to thegeneral.com or call us for a super fast quote. All it takes is a couple of minutes. Our rates are very affordable, and right now our monthly payments are as low as $39. You'll also get instant proof of insurance.
Show off.
For a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time.
Finally, sleep the way nature intended. Introducing Unisom Natural Nights with ingredients like melatonin to soothe you to sleep. It's non-habit forming with no prescription side effects, so you wake
ready to go.
New Unisom Natural Nights. Sleep safely, sleep soundly.
Let's take a look at our game summary presented by Lincoln. Starting matchup of CC Sabathia against Kyle Drabek. Sabathia gives up 6 hits and 3 runs over 6 innings of work. Drabek 5 hits, no runs over 5 innings. Brett Gardner 2 for 3. And for the Blue Jays, Brett Laurie 2 hits. He tripled and doubled off CC Sabathia and scored a run. 4-1, top of the 9th. And this is Clay Rapata into work against Ricardo Nanita. Rapata, the other lefty. We saw Cesar Cabral last inning. And now Rapata trying to lock up a spot as the second lefty in the Yankees bullpen. Gets Nanita to lift one out to left and shallow. And instead it's Eduardo Nunez calling off the left fielder, Maxwell, for the first out.
Well, Rapata has opened some eyes this spring training, and obviously with that three-quarter delivery from the left side, trying to make this Yankee bullpen as another lefty. Gets a nice opportunity to get a left-hander out first at bat, and he'll face another one here for the second at bat.
And this is Brian Girolamo taking over for Yan Gomes.
You know, Bob, sometimes everything has to fall right in order to make a team out of spring training. If you're a guy like Rapata, you know, he comes in here in the ninth inning, faces a lefty first at bat, another lefty second at bat, and he's got a left-hander on deck for 3 left-handers in a row. You know, what's to say he comes in a game and faces 3 righties and gives up a couple of hits and doesn't really show the Yankees what his value is. And that value is trying to get a lefty out in the middle of a ball game.
Well, we saw a little bit of that with Cabral.
Yeah.
He had some right-handers he had to face and couldn't retire him after recording the first 2 outs on 2 pitches. Rapata drops down and gets him there for a strikeout, and out number 2.
Yeah, it's just a nice opportunity the way things are looking for him this spring, and especially this inning, to face 3 lefties in a row. You can really make a statement by getting all 3 of them out. And if you throw sliders like this from this arm angle, you're going to have a lot of success against any lefty.
So with 2 away, that'll bring up Luis Valbuena. Took over the leadoff spot for the second baseman, Kelly Johnson. And a swing and a miss, 0-2. So Rapata working very quickly against these Jays lefties.
See if he can go to that slider down and away. Kind of left one middle of the plate there. It looks like maybe a fastball away.
And almost gets Valbuena to swing at it. 1-2.
Yeah,
good pitch, though.
Yeah, good pitch. And even if you don't get the call third strike or a swing on that pitch, you're planting a seed in the lefty's head that says, you know what, I got another pitch beside that slider. You got to respect the fastball.
And that slider right at Eduardo Nunez, and that will do it here in the top half of the 9th inning. Last chance coming up for the Yanks, down 4-1 to the Jays.
Opening day is almost here, and MLB Network is ready. With live coverage all day and the Dodgers-Padres season opener at night. Every ballpark is home to MLB Network. Opening day coverage built by the Home Depot begins Thursday, April 5th at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network.
This one's for all us lawnsmiths, grass gurus, doers. Here's to more Saturdays in the sun and budgets better spent. Here's to turning rookies into experts and shoppers into savers. Here's to picking up, trading up, mixing it up. To well-earned muddy boots and a lot more spring per dollar. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Break out the gardening gloves. Miracle Grow Garden Soil is now 3 bags for $10.
Today, we stand against the tyranny of meager travel cards.
Battle speech, right?
May I?
Capital One is issuing a Venture Double Miles Challenge. Show us how much you spent last year. It will give you 2 miles for every $1 spent on your travel reward card, up to 100,000 miles.
Hawaii, here we come.
Claim your miles at CapitalOne.com today.
What's in your wallet? Can you play games on that?
Not on the runway.
Oh.
He has inside jokes with complete strangers. Cuba imports cigars from him. Mosquitoes refuse to bite him, purely out of respect. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
Bottom of the ninth here in Tampa. Last chance for the Yankees. Trailing 4-1 to the Blue Jays. This is Chris Dickerson starting things off against the lefty Aaron Loup. Blue Jays with 4 runs on 7 hits. Yankees 1 run on 7 hits and an error. And Dickerson fouling one away quickly in a hole 0-2.
You see the numbers at Dunedin, the Florida State League. Loup, a left-hander. Getting a look here in spring training for the Blue Jays out of Tulane. A 9th round draft pick in the 2009 draft. Left-handed, Bob, you're going to get a look and another look and probably a third.
And Dickerson is aboard, hit by pitch. You could almost see that coming with where his plant foot went down.
And it looked like he tried to drop down a little bit. Kind of replicated an arm angle of Clay Rapata. Kind of spun that breaking ball, didn't get it to the outside part of the plate. If you're a left-handed reliever, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. Every big league club looking for a valuable one at the end of their pen.
Dickerson already a stolen base back in the 7th. Lefty on the hill this time with Eduardo Nunez batting. And Nunez fouling it away, 0-2. And now Nunez trying to fight to get out of the way of that one. And he missed it, but the ball getting away there from Mathis, so Dickerson down to second.
Yeah, Loup having a little trouble when he gets the 2 strikes. Fastball and yanks it inside. A little tough time with that arm angle.
I don't know much about Loup, but is it something he's working on, trying to drop down a little bit, change his arm angle, or to be more effective? But he's not being effective.
It looks like it to me. And, you know, there are a lot of lefties and through my career where I would say, why don't you drop down a little bit? And I think Loup is showing us why. It's not that easy to just drop your arm angle and be effective being able to locate pitches.
And Eduardo Nunez, base hit into right center field. Dickerson will round and score. And as Davis has a problem with the ball, Nunez into second. Yankees in business, 4-2.
Eduardo Nunez has not missed a beat after he got hit in that hand and missed so much time at the beginning of spring training. When he has gotten back in the lineup, he has been swinging the bat from the first at bat. He hammers this into right field to be an RBI base hit. And Davis, who has trouble coming up with a clean, allows Nunez to scamper into second base.
And now Nunez at second after the single and the error on Davis. Blue Jays lead cut to 4-2, and here's Dwayne Wise. Looks at a strike. So Loup has been effective getting ahead of hitters. He just hasn't been able to put them away. And a strike, and he's ahead 0-2. Otherwise, last season, spending time with the Blue Jays and the Marlins. A veteran, he'll provide depth in the outfield for the Yankees at AAA.
Speaking of veterans, you see Omar Vizquel in there playing behind Nunez, trying to make the Blue Jays this spring. The backup infielder.
And a ground ball to second base. They'll get the out at first, but the runner advances to third.
There's Omar Vizquel, Gold Glove winner year after year. So it looks like he's in great shape. Talk about a valuable veteran to have on a ball club, and especially with a young shortstop Escobar on this team, maybe pushing him a little bit.
And Justin Maxwell 0 for 3 got the start tonight in left field when Curtis Granderson was a late scratch, so Gardner moved over to center. Maxwell went into left. Got Nunez on third with one away. One to Maxwell. Lope misses away. 2-1. And gets a strike across there. One of the first pitches that he's dropped down a little on and gotten over for a strike. 2-2. And the count going full 3-2.
Well, Maxwell trying to work his way on. He would be the tying run if he can get on first base. A lot of speed. I think he's trying to tie this up or take the lead here in the ninth.
And well struck to short. Omar Vizquel over to first. They'll get Maxwell, but the runner will score to make it 4-3. I want to remind you that later tonight, get a preview of the upcoming season with the Yankees 2012 Pride, Power, and Pinstripes. Join the Yes crew in Tampa as they examine the key storylines and challenges for the upcoming season, including roster breakdowns and player interviews. It's Yankees 2012 tonight, right after the game, only on Yes. You don't want to go anywhere. Player interviews, Jack Curry hosting.
Roundtable discussions.
You and I both a part of that. Spirited discussion.
Riveting.
This is Gustavo Molina trying to keep the Yankees alive here. Down by 1 now in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs. And he's facing an 0-2 pitch from Aaron Luke. And a swing and a miss, and that will do it. As the Blue Jays win it 4-3, not before the Yankees get a couple here in the bottom of the ninth, but come up a run short. So the Blue Jays have now won 8 straight in the spring on a nice run. They improved to 20-4. And the Yankees falling to 13-10-2. Final thoughts coming up here.
You just finished watching the Toronto Blue Jays and New York Yankees right here on MLB Network. 4-3 the final. The Blue Jays over New York. Kyle Drabek gets the start for Toronto. 5 innings, 5 hits, 0 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. We'll take much more about this one in just a bit, but MLB Tonight starts right now.
Ready 1. Stand by Jim. All right, guys, clear with that. Hold your shadow 2.
Pop 1 in, animated.
Raise it, reach it.
Stand by A. 15. Have a good show, guys. Set contact, ready to set contact. 4, 3, 2, 1. There it goes! How do you like that? Low red, take track red.
Hello, everyone. everybody, and welcome to MLB Tonight, presented by Sports Authority. Inside Studio 3 for this edition, alongside Eric Burns, I'm Alana Rizzo. Eric and I will discuss today's action in just a bit, but first let's take a look at what's coming up right here on the network. Next is 30 clubs in 30 days, featuring the Washington Nationals, followed by the Rockies at Diamondbacks and Cactus League action. And for the diehards, the Rockies 30 in 30 at 2 a.m. But first, let's get you to some action from earlier today. Angels at Giants. Buster Posey, their catcher, taking BP. First time he's caught back-to-back games since his injury on May 25th. Top of the fourth, nobody out. Albert Pujols at the plate, hits a single off of Tim Lincecum. A great day for him, Eric, 2 for 3 on the day.
Great spring, Alana. He's been on fire and getting exactly what the Angels paid for.
I hope so. They paid him a lot. Top of the ninth, tied at 2. Jorge Cantu pops out to second base and breaks his bat. But that's not even what we're talking about here. The broken bat flies into the stands and hits a fan. You hate to see when this happened. The fan was tended to by the paramedics. Certainly a scary sight in Scottsdale.
Yikes.
I know. You hate to see that happen. Top of the ninth, bases loaded. Javier Lopez on the mound. Alexi Amarista hits a bases-clearing triple, barely on that one. Lopez takes the loss, and the Angels would go on to get the win on that one.
Angels have had a real good spring on top of Pujols. They've been swinging the bats as well as anybody in all the Cactus League.
All right, let's get you to the Rays and the Red Sox. Top of the second is where we begin with this one. Josh Beckett on the hill for Boston. He gets Jose Lobaton looking. Beckett would strike out 5 in 5 innings. Bottom of the second, Cody Ross at the plate. He homers to left. That one an absolute no-doubter. What are you liking from him this spring?
That's a second day in a row you've seen Cody. I think with the Green Monster, when he gets to Fenway Park, he's going to have an absolutely monster year. He hit more deep fly balls last year when he was with the Giants at AT&T Park that got caught.
All right, well, the Red Sox get this one easily, 8-0, the final on that one. 3-run second, a 4-run seventh for them. Mauro Gomez, 2 RBIs. Dustin Pedroia, 1 for 2, 2 RBIs and 2 walks. Well, tomorrow the game actually counts, everybody. The opening series of 2012 is tomorrow in Japan when the Mariners take on the Athletics. On Wednesday, Felix Hernandez opposes Brandon McCarthy. On Thursday, it's Vargas for Seattle and Bartolo Colon for the A's. MLB Network will have both games for you beginning at 9 Eastern. A reminder, you can catch the Washington Nationals episode of 30 Clubs in 30 Days coming up after this program. Nationals outfielder Jason Worth talks one-on-one with Mitch Williams as we preview the Nats 30 in 30. That and more coming up after this break.
Great tip, good tip.
They're back, refreshed and ready to go. And MLB Network's 30 Clubs in 30 Days is back with exclusive access to every team's training camp. 30 Clubs in 30 Days. Next stop, Washington Nationals. Coming up next on MLB Network.
Yes, I can. Doubt, better leave. I run this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the bucket, can't have me. I'll be the president.
Landed on the surface of the moon.
Oh, you like that gossip? Like you the one drinking what gossip.com. Now I got a word for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want? Yeah, I got a brand new spirit speaking and it's done. Woke up on the side of the bed like I won. Talk like the wind in my chest to that sun. G5 in the US to Taiwan. Now who can say that? I want to play back. I got a feeling it's a rap. ASAP.
Is it March monotony? No, it's March Madness, people. The most insanely exciting 4 weeks of hoops all year. Check out the new LG Nitro HD smartphone with its true HD screen. Catch NCAA action on this stunning 4.5-inch HD display. Do March right and check out the entire LG team at lg.com/NCAA. Now the LG Nitro HD is incredibly priced at $99.99, exclusively on AT&T.
I have 2 products in front of you, and we're going to start with product X. This is a very affordable product that will help save you a lot of money.
I like it. I like it too.
This is product Y. This is a much more expensive product. You will not see a lot of savings with this one.
Harsh.
You chose Geico, and you did not choose their competitor. Was this your first car insurance taste test?
Catch another spring training game on MLB Network, home of more than 150 games this month. Coming up next after 30 Clubs in 30 Days, it'll be the Rockies versus the D-backs at 11 Eastern. Spring training baseball coming your way tonight on MLB Network.
Time now for a preview of the Nationals edition of 30 Clubs in 30 Days, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. It debuts next right here on MLB Network. Washington outfielder Jason Worth is looking to bounce back in 2012 after a tough 2011 with Washington, his first year with the club. Our Mitch Williams caught up with him at spring training.
Jason's second year here in Washington, just being around this club, I can tell the tenor of the team, the confidence of the team is way up from previous years. For sure. Can you tell that in the clubhouse?
I mean, I've only been here, the 1 year, but I've played against this team, years before, and I would just say that the personnel is obviously a lot better. The group of guys is good. Talking to Ryan Zimmerman, who's been here a long time, and he'll tell you that they've never really had much chemistry. So towards the second half of last year, towards the end, the chemistry was there. And then coming into this year, we had a couple arms, Gio Gonzalez, Edwin Jackson, Strasburg's back all, limited innings, but he'll be back. Jordan Zimmerman's going to have a full year, and we got a good group. We're young and we're talented, and that only takes you so far. But I think as the season goes on, the experience will be added, and coming down the stretch, we're going to be tough.
As far as the Nationals rotation is concerned, here is how it is shaping up. The phenom Steven Strasburg was named the opening day starter. Gio Gonzalez, who has really improved his mechanics throughout the spring. Jordan Zimmerman, Edwin Jackson, a 1.54 ERA in exhibition play. It's the fifth spot, Eric, that has that big question mark. And we were talking a little bit earlier about it, but those are the options there in terms of Chang-Ming Wang, the right-hander, the lefty John Lannon, and then Ross Detweiler. How do you see that fifth spot being filled out?
I talked to FP Santangelo today, the color commentator for the Washington Nationals, and he loves John Lannon. And with Chang-Ming Wang starting the year on the disabled list, I don't see how anybody else but John Lannon would be the guy. He loves the way he attacks the hitters, goes after the guys, and doesn't have great stuff, but he, I'm trying to think how I could politically correctly put this. He's got, he's got a lot of heart.
Is he the best option out of those three in your mind?
In my mind, yeah. I mean, I have to go from what I've seen. I like John Lannon. He's a guy that's done it for you before. Why not give him a chance to do it for you again?
As far as the entire rotation is concerned, 1 through 5, how will the Nationals fare?
Tell me, the addition of Gio Gonzalez, if he's throwing the baseball the way he did for the Oakland Athletics the past however many years, they're going to be awesome. I mean, look, Steven Strasburg, Jordan Zimmerman, Edwin Jackson. If Edwin Jackson is the pitcher that he has been the past couple of years, this is a team that could legitly contend in the National League East. They've been my sexy pick since the offseason.
You have been on the Washington
I've been
Nationals
all over the Washington Nationals. Everyone's telling me I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but I feel like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for good reason.
All right, well, we're going to find out what type of Kool-Aid they have in their clubhouse coming up next, because right now it's 30 clubs in 30 days, the Washington Nationals edition. That's going to do it for Eric and I here on MLB Tonight. Stay with us. That feature is next. Good night.